I swear. We'll work that line. We'll work that line in there. We're professionals. I am also watching, and I do not see it. I see this cool game being played by your students. That game looks pretty cool. I don't know. Oh, good. Oh, let me no, let me do that so I can. I wanted to be able to see the chat in case people are chatting. It says offline. Okay. Now I don't see us, but I see Depression Quest. Can you? Well, as long as you can see us, I don't need to see us. Maybe it's because I made my screen smaller. Hello, hello. My other BFF is here. Engaged Family Gaming. Hello, can you see us? Because I can't, but I'm just trusting Ashley on this one. I cannot help you. So, technical difficulties. We are not. Oh my goodness, IT people. Oh, he says no. He can't see anything. Oh, working on it. I combed my hair this time, people. I promise. So Ashley's gonna make it work. Otherwise, it was all for nothing. That is what I see. To be to be fair, she is, and she did ask me to meet her on the PlayStation, but I am on the road in San Antonio. Hey. Yeah, but your audio is not coming through, just FYI, according to the chat. Okay, so hi. Oh, there we are. Now you can see us. Hi. Sorry you're only hearing my audio. Ashley is working on it. Hello, Stephen. My fellow PAC South presenter. Where's Sven when you need him? Sven is the IT guy for our D&D games.
Am I muted in the? No.
It's
I'm not muted.
according to chat, you are muted.
So I can hear myself when I'm doing the audio checks. Audio is coming through. Okay, good.
Okay.
So
Woo.
for some reason, thank you guys for being so patient. A and B. For some reason, my OBS defaults to the wrong mic, which is really annoying. I struggle with OBS. OBS is not super user friendly, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. I'm not doing my typical Thinkalouds.
We can. You can just do it with my commentary.
Thanks for the follow, Emery's Daniel.
Yes, that's Steven.
Hi, Steven.
He is he fools you with his Emery. Doesn't go by that. He's going to be on the panels with me at PAX. San Antonio is nice.
That's super
cool. Ashley is here, but sadly not in San Antonio. I wish you were here. Maybe next PAX we can rein you in, although it's the beginning of the term, so it might be hard.
Yeah. But I'll figure it out. It'd be fun. I've
Yeah,
never gone to
I
a
would love
PAX.
to have you on. My first one was Seattle a couple months ago where I met Steven and a bunch of other hooligans, and now they've reined me in. Now I'm a PAX believer. It is super fun. Super fun.
Thanks, Steven. Okay, so maybe we should start off by doing some introductions. That'd probably be fun because I think you have a lot of people who are here to see you, in addition
Hello.
to the people who normally pop in and are here to see me. This is only
Yes.
going to confuse me, says Engaged Family Gaming. Hopefully, it's
Well,
not another tech issue. Engaged Family Gaming. I'm scared. Okay. So, my name is Dr. Ashley Brown. I usually don't use the doctor title, but I sometimes feel like it's relevant. This is my Twitch stream. Thank you so much for joining me. I am a professor at the University of Utah, where I teach game design and games user research. My background is in social behavioral science. And so typically what I do in my stream is I analyze how well a game onboards its users by playing. I'm a variety streamer, so I only ever play like the first 3 hours of a game. But in doing that, I do a think aloud where I talk about essentially the control scheme and how well the game onboards. Tonight's going to be a little bit different because I am blessed to have Dr. Rachel Kowert on my stream, who is a fantastic friend in addition to being a super kick-ass awesome psychologist, amongst other things. Would you like to
oh,
introduce yourself?
sure. Hi. That was pretty good. I mean, I could leave it at that. I am a psychologist. I've been studying. Oh, we got juice. I'll get my juice in a minute. I've
Saluting you.
been studying games and gamers for just over 10 years. I've published several books on it. I've known Ashley since my PhD days. We go way back. And I'm really excited to be here and chat with you guys and have some juice. I heard it was necessary. Yes, Depression Quest. Let's talk about games. Well, actually, can we first start? Let's start by talking about Blue Monday. I feel like we have to address this.
I feel like we have to address your juice. Let's talk about our juice.
Okay,
So,
you talk about yours is German juice. Yeah.
because
That's
I because I represent
introduce
the
your
university, I don't like to drink on stream except, beer and video games is kind of like a staple. So instead I just drink German barley juice from the
Oh,
Bavarian juice farms that they're so famous for.
yes. I mean, I did live in Germany for a
You
few years.
did?
I will vouch for that. That is a thing. That is definitely a thing all over Germany. My juice is Californian.
California grape.
And it does come from a grape. Yes. Cheers.
Cheers. So, before we get started talking, if you have
Mm,
any questions for Dr. Kowert or I throughout any point in the stream, feel free to ask in chat. And
yes, for sure.
I'm pretty good about reading chat out, but I'd love to hear from you. And I think Rachel, you point out, a really good starting point. So let's talk about Blue Monday.
Yeah. So well, technically today is not Blue Monday,
Technically, no.
right? Well, Blue Monday is technically next week, right? The third Monday of January. But
Mhm.
also, technically, Blue Monday is not a thing. Okay. So
Right?
let's start with that. Not a thing. There is not one day that is more depressing than any other days, number one.
Not even
Uh,
Mondays?
I know Garfield might have a different opinion, but no, not even Mondays. And then, I read a really good article about it. I can link it here in the chat. I have it open just so I can share with all of you wonderful people
You're so
about the
pro.
truth about Blue Monday. Well, I'm pretty adamant about this dissemination of false information and things like this. They really kind of catch stream, right? Like, ooh, Blue Monday, like it's real catchy. No, it's not a thing. Every day is equally annoying. No, not
Depressing.
really. I want to say depressing, but then the article also goes on about the misuse of the word depression, which I can also get on board with because
Right, sure,
clinical
sure.
depression is an actual diagnosis. It's not, people can have normal ups and downs, totally normal. Everybody has ups and downs, but depression is a clinical diagnosis and shouldn't be kind of trivialized in terms of like, oh, this one day everyone all of a sudden is depressed. That's my soapbox. We'll just start with that. What are your thoughts on that, Ashley?
Engaged Family Gaming says every day is equally depressing, lol. And Steven says, yikes, lol. So I have to read out the comments as well because I'm not sure that they catch on the YouTube stream. So I do upload these videos to YouTube when I'm done. And so I don't think the chat is being recorded, unfortunately. So I'll read out comments. What do I think about Blue Monday? Well, I think... Actually, my friend Greg and I were having a conversation where he said one of the most enlightening things his therapist ever told him was that happy is not a normal state of being. And that resonated with me in a big way because I've actually never had a therapist tell me that. So I go to therapy.
Yeah.
Also, content warning, we're obviously going to be talking about mental health and depression and stuff. So feel free to tap out if it gets too much for you. We're not going to explicitly talk about I don't think we'll go down the route of talking about suicide beyond statistics and like meta level stuff. I don't think we're going to go in depth or anything, but, just use your best judgment with this kind of stuff. But I have suffered from depression, and I think I've never been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, but I get real sad in the winter. And I think it's because I'm from Arizona and I'm just used to the sunshine. And I don't know that I need a diagnosis to tell me that sun makes me happy, or that I want to take medication for it or anything like that. But I think there's something. So Blue Monday might be a load of crap because statistically, I think there's no difference in increased suicide rates or anything like that. But I think winter is a sad time. I think especially post-Christmas, post-Hanukkah, post-Kwanzaa, post all the Yule tide celebrations that happen, it's a pretty lonely time for a lot of people. And then there's, of course, the 45 days to Valentine's Day from Christmas Day. So if you're like me and you're single, that's an extra depression factor.
Yeah, and I think I read somewhere part of it was to like New Year's resolutions at this point sometimes have gone by the wayside, and so that might be an added.
Well, maybe by next Monday. I feel like
by the
2 weeks in. I feel like 2 weeks in.
I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe 2 weeks in. I'm not sure.
Do you do New Year's resolutions?
Not really.
Me neither. I feel like I'm just setting myself up for disappointment.
I mean, I feel like you can make. I'm a firm believer in making new daily resolutions. So I don't really want to plan for like the whole year. It's more like, okay, today I'm going to try to do whatever, work more, write more, sleep more, whatever it is. I can't plan a whole year in advance. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oop. As well, hit my mic. Yeah. So this is the best cure for depression I found. Pupper dogs.
I know. I miss my dog. I have a pug. I wish he was here. We have a link here. About being happy. Oh my goodness. Something crazy just happened to my screen.
Yeah, my internet's not so great. I'm also in my basement, so, yeah.
You'll have to add that link when you put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to add these links because that's an oatmeal comic. There's also a really good one from Hyperbole and a Half that I really like about how one day she suddenly lost motivation and felt sad. And she did a whole webcomic about her battle with depression. But I mean, January is it's a shitty month. Like, sorry for the swear. I try not to swear, but there's no other way to put it, really.
It is. And like you said, like the high of like the holidays is over. And I mean, if you're like, I live in Ottawa and it's cold in January. So I understand.
It's dark.
Inside. It gets dark at like 4:30. My daughter was like, Mom, it's nighttime. And when she wakes up to go to school, because it doesn't get light till late either. I'm like, no, it's actually the morning. So, yeah.
It's tough.
But not any more than any other time. So says science. And we are women of science. So we're going to have to go with that.
It's really funny. I have an app on my phone that tells me, like, the news of the day when my alarm goes off, which is kind of depressing. Speaking of depression.
Don't read the news. That's not going to help.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time I wake up, I'm like, damage report. But they did a special, the Weather Channel has a little app that they tell you, like, a fun, interesting, like 1 minute worth of fact. And they actually covered January blues today, which I thought was very fitting.
Oh,
So they
okay.
said that women of reproductive years tend to be the most affected by seasonal affective disorder. So they think it might have some kind of hormonal component, but this was from the AccuWeather app on my phone.
That's interesting.
Pinnacle of science right there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's a science. I would assume it's a science-based tidbit there. Well, and when winter comes, like when winter started coming in Canada, I was talking to my neighbor across the street, and I was like, "Man, the days seem so long." And she was like, "Oh yeah, like it's winter, like it's gonna suck, and you're gonna be like sad about it." So seems to be a common thing. Like you're gonna develop seasonal affective disorder living here, which you live in the north now, so maybe that's what happened to you. Like you're saying, you're not in Arizona anymore.
That's the really crap thing is that Utah's just one state above Arizona, and it's still super depressing.
Totally different. Totally different climate.
So I'm curious how you think games can help with depression.
So many ways. I mean, I can tell you I've had bouts of depression as well. It comes and goes in my life. And when I have been at my most bottom point, games were like the only like saving grace in like my daily routine. And for me, it was online games. And for me, it was the social communities that are built around online games.
For sure.
So when things seemed, you're part of that too. I mean, when things seemed down or you feel like you're alone or you feel like you have no one to talk to, online games are so beautiful because it can connect you with a community of people who you obviously have something in common. You like games. You can connect to them at any time, at any place in the world, and you can do something fun together.
Yeah.
And just that act alone, knowing that it's there was very comforting to me. But that's just, one way. What do you think? What are your ideas?
I really like what you said about community. I think that's the stereotype that I get maybe asked about the most, or parents are most concerned about, is that games isolate their children, and their children are going to have poor social skills because they play too many video games, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, right? Because it's a super social activity.
Yeah. And the isolation thing, it's funny. I wrote about this a lot in my dissertation, and then one day it like totally dawned on me because I was like, why do they think they're in isolation? It's like, duh, because that's all they see. They see see this. Yeah. They don't see what's on the other side. They don't see like World of Warcraft, like Engage Family Gaming, or like Discord and Overwatch. They don't see like the hundreds, the thousands of people, and then the larger community and like the forums and
the Dragon Cons and the PAXs and all the conventions.
Exactly. Any PAX goers besides my lovely presenters? Let us know if you're going to PAX. We should meet up PAX South this weekend.
Rachel's at PAX, which is, I'm super jealous. We're gonna have such a great time.
You're gonna have to come next.
I think so. Through other conversations with people who Twitch stream, so part of the reason why. So, okay.
Yes.
My mind.
Yes.
It's been a long day at work, and then like my thoughts just are battling to come out of my mouth first. So, the first thing that I want to note, this is kind of a side, maybe a meta commentary, is that even though we're talking about depression and we both have juice, that like this is not a coping strategy for me for depression. I think at one point in my life it was, and that was not when I was very healthy. I was not eating well. I was not taking care of myself. That was like I don't think I was an alcoholic or an addict or anything like that, but I wasn't being kind to my body or myself. And I'm not like that anymore. And I think part of my coping strategy is probably too far. It's probably ennobling it a little bit. But part of how I worked out how I'm happiest is through not only having introverted activities, even though I think I'm an extrovert, I have introverted activities that still allow me to be an extrovert in a kind of way. So I didn't play single player games, even though video games make me super happy. I wasn't playing single player games because it didn't give me that same comfort that World of Warcraft did, like when we would play. Um,
Mhm.
and first person shooters that I also really liked, like Team Fortress 2, would give me the little, buzz or the little bit of happiness from playing it, but it's not the same community, right? Because you
Mhm.
sign up for matches that are pretty quick and you're not necessarily playing with the same people and whatever. So it was actually one of my students that told me, well, my faculty members are also Twitch stream, but they Twitch stream for different purposes. So I had a conversation with one of my students who said, I started Twitch streaming because I felt very lonely when I was gaming. And with Twitch, I don't feel so alone.
Mhm.
And that is 100% been the case for me.
Mhm.
So for me in January, I started Twitch streaming in December, but I kind of felt the maybe seasonal affective disorder.
Mhm.
Again, I've not been properly diagnosed, but I started to feel the
Mhm.
cusp of the sadness coming on.
Mhm.
And I decided to get back into gaming and to try out Twitch to see if it would help. And it's been absolutely phenomenal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And there was an article, oh, I don't have that one pulled up, but I can look for it about fandom. And
Yeah.
it was basically supporting exactly what you just said. There's a community built around it, and you start your stream and you're surrounded by like-minded people, and yeah, you're not alone. And it's fun. I mean, I haven't played games in a really long time either, and then what did I play the other day? I can't remember what I played. I played something the other day. I was like, oh god, this is fun.
Right?
I mean, why don't I play more? Why don't I make time to play more? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't remember what.
Play makes us happy. So our chat's blowing up a little
Yeah.
bit. So
Hey.
Stephen says we have a book chapter out about that, about fantasy sports and how proximity is almost eliminated because we can play with our friends from everywhere.
Oh, see. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
that's totally
that's
true.
the thing. Yeah, it is. And there's a quote. My friend Dr. Sally Quinn. She's at the University of York. She quoted it about social media, but I use it all the time to talk about gaming. About how it's anytime, any place, anywhere. It's on your
Mm-hmm.
phone, your computer. It's on Wi-Fi, phone networks. Almost any time you can connect to your gaming community. Twitch.
I hate to say this because I was so late to the Fortnite train, but
Yeah.
Luke, who couldn't be here tonight, but he comes into chat quite often, is a friend of mine that you probably met him back in our PhD days. But he and I
Possibly.
play Fortnite a lot together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it feels like we're hanging out in the same living room,
Right. Right.
And I would have never, if you tried to explain that to me before I experienced it, I would have called you a
Mm.
liar. I would have been like, there's
Mm.
no way you can feel like someone's sitting next to you on the couch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it feels that way. It really does.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like we're doing it right now, says Steven.
That is.
And I do like that Engaged Family Gaming said, you played a game? No way.
Well,
All
I
kinds.
go on his podcast. If you guys check out his podcast, Engage Family Gaming, it's really good. I've been on there a few times, and every time he's like, "All right, what have you played?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I haven't played." Full disclosure to those who don't know me, I have two children. One is 4 and one is 1.5, and neither sleep. So I haven't had time for gaming. But to now, as I'm out of town for PAX, we have time.
I'm also pretty excited for when your kids get to the age where you can game with them. I think that's going to be very special.
I know. I'm so stoked. Actually, we played Mario Kart. My daughter's 4. She can do the Mario Kart. She doesn't like Rainbow Road. She doesn't like things where she can fall off. But
I don't like Rainbow Road. She's right.
I know. That's how I feel. And the new Rainbow Road is like super trippy. I mean, even I was like, okay, let's go back to Mushroom Cup. But yeah.
You ever feel like you're on the cusp of a seizure?
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm going cross-eyed. I don't know what's happening.
Wow. Telepresence, says Stephen, or in this case, social presence. Is
yes, we got the scientists in the chat, and we got the official terms, telepresence.
I am so stoked to have psychologists in this chat because I just streamed Absu a few weeks ago, and I had marine biologists and chemists in the chat. Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun. So it's like hashtag science stream.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I try to bring a gang of social scientists wherever I go.
To fight other gangs, to fight like rival hard science gangs, I guess.
With words. We fight with words and logic and old theories.
Yeah. I'm going to give y'all follows, Emery's Daniel and Engaged Family Gaming after this because I know you're up to cool stuff and I want to check it out.
They are. Ball shock.
Okay,
All right.
so we established that Blue Monday is a load of crap, but
Not a
seasonal
thing.
affective disorder in the winter is a
Is a
thing.
thing. Yes.
And games can help with that by making you feel more social. If social presence is something that you crave, then games can fill that need. I think for me also at certain points in my life, maybe not for depression, but for anxiety, certainly, games were a type of escapism.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think that escapism was a bad word, and I used to think that because I mean, in popular culture, it's kind of used as a bad word, right? It's like
Right.
you're not
Ah,
dealing with your problems; you're escaping them,
right.
and it's like, sure, with drugs and alcohol, that becomes a problem for a variety of reasons because it takes a physical toll on your body, because there's a financial toll, and mental degradation kind of maybe thing that's happening, depending on what you're abusing. But I feel like with games, even if video gaming abuse and addiction is a totally separate issue that I won't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I feel like with games that risk isn't there in the same way, and I feel like it's more almost like cognitive behavioral therapy for me, where I can hop into a game for an hour and just forget that I have anxious thoughts, and then by the time I'm done with the game, I can just go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, escapism is not a bad thing in and of itself. Sometimes you need to escape. Sometimes you just need
Yeah,
that mental break and
for
then you
sure.
can go back to it. It's like with writer's block, you know?
Yeah,
You've had writer's block. You wrote a
yeah.
dissertation. Sometimes you just have to walk away and play some games and come back. And I mean, that's escapism. I
Yeah.
mean, video games, there's a lovely Freudian term called sublimation, which is in order to get rid of the bad feelings, you channel that energy into something that's more productive. Like, the classic example is like painting, or like you go for a
Yeah.
run or whatever. Video games can totally fill that void.
Yeah. That's a really nice way to put it. I didn't think about it as like channeling your anxious energy into
Yeah.
something else. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, unless it's me playing first person shooters, then I'm just more anxious.
I feel like there's some games that certainly. I
Some
mean,
games,
I
yeah.
am terrified of the ocean, and so Absu was a little bit anxiety inducing for me. But it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play Depression Quest, even though we're like half an hour in.
We're
We
gonna
love
play.
play a
Oh
game.
well, we're having a good time. We're gonna check this game out. What do you know about this game? This game was talked a lot about at the conferences that I went to a couple years ago. Depression Quest was all the rage.
Yes. So made by Zoe Quinn. It's an interactive nonfiction about living with depression. And so for my students in my serious games class, I often talk about the difference between a medical game, which may be seeking to treat depression or diagnose depression or connect an individual with resources about depression, and an art game, which is about expressing. I mean, let's not go into defining art, right? Because we'll be here all night. But trying
Let's
to,
not do that.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to get into pedantry and pedantics, so we're just
No,
going to
no, no, no.
skim right over that. But it's about trying to express a feeling. So in this case, it's sort of empathy machine. It's meant to inspire empathy for living with depression, and it's one person, one individual's experience. So it's not meant to diagnose, treat, or anything in a serious games type perspective. It's just meant to express what depression is like. So unfortunately, thanks for the bits, Family Gaming. That's really sweet of you.
Don't know
Oh,
what those are. Thank
so
you
bits are like a
for the
way to
bit.
tip, which is really sweet.
Oh,
Um, I didn't get out my party popper. So typically, if I get a subscription or bits or something, I have the. But I didn't feel like
aw.
that'd be thematically appropriate for talking about depression and playing this game. So
Steven's got a good point here in your chat about how it's a shame escapism is tied to addiction because there's
yeah,
many studies concerning escapism and if it's ever been linked to helping with depression specifically. Has there been any studies? I don't know. I know that there's the work about motivations to play, and people play for escapism, achievement, social connection. There's like 10 reasons that people play. That used to be the only three. Um,
so my
I don't know.
therapist told me that By the way, I'm totally an open book. I don't believe in stigmatizing mental health at all, so I talk pretty freely, maybe to the embarrassment of my family,
Oh,
about
no.
my adventures in therapy. But the best way I ever had it put, because my therapist encouraged me to find escapists, because with my particular diagnosis, and obviously I'm not speaking for all of humanity or everyone with anxiety or depression or what have you, this was my particular prognosis and diagnosis, was that I hold on to anxious thoughts so tightly that it will send me into a depression. So to break that cycle and to break holding on to those thoughts, that I needed escapism. And so she told me, it's like if you're at a bus stop and you're waiting for a bus, and a bus comes by and it says that it's going to King's Cross. Like, obviously, this was back when I was in London. So, you know, you don't want to get on that bus, so you just let it go by. You don't sit there and, you know, you don't board the bus anyway, just because it's the first bus to come along, and you don't, you know, think, oh God, I should have gotten on that bus, because it's not the bus you want. And so she said, thoughts are like that too. So if you have an anxious thought or a depressive thought, and you can't just let it go, like you'd let that bus go, because that thought's not going to get you to the destination you want to go. That thought's going to make you suffer. So if you can't let that go, then do something that can distract you long enough to where you can let it go. And so by the time I finished playing games, I remember why I was stressed in the first place.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, so Light said, yay, depression, pop. That's so funny. That's why I started giggling. I almost spit out my juice. Steven says, I smell a study. Woo!
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to read. I'm hoping, I know the screen's a little bit borked for our viewers, but the problem is on this screen, if I move the text over, then what happens is the...
oh, that happens. That's not good.
Yeah. So we don't want that. So...
No.
Instead, I'm going to read the screen. I think in the next screen, the sidebar goes away. So I think it should be...
Okay. Better.
Thanks, Stephen. It was a good point.
I'm just going to get some more juice now that the gaming is actually beginning.
Yeah. Okay,
right.
So I'm going to read this out loud for the benefit of our viewers on YouTube and later and all those things. Okay, Depression Quest is a game that deals with living with depression in a very literal way. This game is not meant to be fun or a lighthearted experience. This is the prologue before you actually click start, by the way. If you are currently suffering from the illness and are easily triggered, please be aware that this game uses stark depictions of people in very dark places. So this is your content warning. If you need to stop watching the stream now, that's fine. It will be up on YouTube later, so there's no need to force yourself to watch this content if you are not in a good place at all. And by the way, this Depression Quest also has a suicide prevention lifeline.org link, which is this link here. So if you would like to play along, you can go to depressionquest.com and you can also click on that link. And please be safe, people who are watching live or on YouTube. Okay. If you are suicidal, please stop playing this game and visit this link to talk to someone, which was the it is, I'll go ahead and read the link out loud just for the sake of my own consciousness. It's suicidepreventionlifeline.org/gethelp/lifeline chat. And that can connect you to someone. And please be safe. Yeah.
Yep.
And if anyone has other links that they think is awesome, then please do share in our chat, and I will be sure to put those on the YouTube video when I upload that. Engaged Family Gaming says, I play this game, it gets dark, but I think that it's valuable. So this warning is no joke. Okay, the goal of this game is twofold. Firstly, we want to illustrate as clearly as possible what depression is like, so that it may be better understood by people without depression. Hopefully this can be something to spread awareness and fight against the social stigma and misunderstandings that depression sufferers face. And the stigma, woo! Secondly, our hope is that in presenting as real a simulation of depression as possible, other sufferers will come to know that they aren't alone and hopefully derive some measure of comfort from that. Like, straight up, y'all, you're not alone. There are plenty of people like me, Rachel at some point, like we've been there. It's not shameful, it's normal. It's practically normal at this point. I especially feel like in games. But Okay. It goes without saying that because of the very nature of depression, it is experienced differently by every person who suffers from it. We aren't trying to say that this is the best or most accurate representation, merely that this is an amalgamation of the experiences of the developers and several people close to them.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the following encounters deal with issues such as therapy, medication, handling a love life, and reaching out to support networks. In reality, less than half of depression sufferers actually seek treatment for reasons such as lack of money. In the US, that's a big problem. Perceived personal failing or public stigma. These things were included in order to touch upon as broad a range as possible, since all these elements can be very important to sufferers of depression, although they will likely not be the experiences of most sufferers. It is important to recognize that not everyone with depression is so lucky. Many people with the illness don't have a lot of the luxuries that we have in this game. We've written it this way so that we can focus specifically on the illness, which becomes more and more difficult to deal with as the person who has it is less and less well off. For that reason, a portion of the proceeds from this game will be donated to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and you can click there if you'd like to contribute. If like, I love donating to mental health charities, so if you are able, fantastic charities to donate to. And, go show the game a little love too, eh? Support game developers. This game uses audio as part of its gameplay. God help me if that audio works. I promise you, I have tried.
With the audio.
I have tried. So when I tried playing it just without a stream, just me, the audio was broken. So if it appears on stream, that'd be a miracle.
Yeah, if it doesn't go through the stream, Ashley, just recreate it for the audience.
But I never got to hear it because when I tried playing it solo, it wasn't there. Well, so this game's a little bit old, and it is a web browser-based game, so lots of things can happen.
All right.
Okay.
Let's begin.
So, I mean, it's like a little bit less broken. So the first thing you see,
sunny.
Yeah. There's a like a Polaroid picture, and then I think the text shows maybe a little bit. Or I might need to change the resolution a little bit. Let's see. I think most of it shows. Okay. So I'll be the narrator. It's early on a Monday morning. A Monday! See? Mondays suck.
Blue Monday. It's Blue Monday. Let's see.
It's early on a Blue Monday morning.
Yes.
You are a mid-20s human being. Ha! I wish.
What? I don't wish. Go on.
You don't want to be mid-20s again?
No. No. You're crazy. You couldn't pay me. No.
I think I would want my metabolism back. I think I'd want that.
Okay, I'll take that part.
Try to see the bright side. Sorry, I should be more serious.
Part. No, okay.
Oh God, do you remember being able to sleep in?
I remember a lot of things. I remember being to sleep in. I remember not getting much sleep and not feeling, quite like I do now.
Right.
Go on.
Engaged Family Gaming says she didn't know me in her mid-20s, so not worth it.
For that reason alone. That's a different stream. We can talk about time travel in another stream.
We should. Okay.
We should. I'd do that one.
You have a significant other named Alex. Is that hyperlinked? It is hyperlinked. What happens if I click on it?
Alex.
Oh, there's a picture.
What'd you do? Oh, we get information about Alex? Oh, sweet.
But how do I go back?
Well, you can't go back. We have to learn who Alex is. What's this say?
You met Alex through a mutual friend a few months back. The two of you hit it off pretty well that first night, and after a series of initially awkward dates...
Sounds realistic.
You finally became a couple, much to your surprise and excitement. Alex is 3 months younger than you are and is currently a student with a part-time job and a broad social circle. She's also got a wide variety of interests, and oftentimes you worry that might be too boring for her, but she's been good at trying to reassure you she's happy. Your relationship... Hashtag relatable content. Your relationship consists of a lot of nights in watching Netflix. When you both got time off of work and she doesn't have classes. With the occasional social outing, but she tends to have you talk she tends to have to talk you into attending.
Mm.
She tries to be understanding when you are in one of your moods, as she puts it. You're starting to feel like she doesn't understand what it's like for you, and this is the source of tension in your relationship. Coupled with your reluctance to want to go to college parties, this feeds your worry of not being exciting enough for them. I'm going to try and change my resolution real quick. We fell into the black void of OBS. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to change the display setting back because I had to teach with this computer today.
So Alex is a new relationship, and we feel insecure because they are more exciting than we are. And I would go so far to say yes, that Alex obviously doesn't understand if she just calls it one of our moods. That's a little...
Yeah, he's condescending?
Yeah, a little bit. Alex a little condescending, so let's see how this goes.
Okay.
All right.
So, okay. Well, so now you can
better.
see, yeah, it's better until it's not. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, I'm going to put our picture right there. Let me see if I can, because I need to be able to scroll. We can. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you guys for being patient. There's a lot of cogs in this machine. Okay. Can you see all the text, though? No, I don't think you can. But, okay.
No, but it's way better.
Okay. It's less annoying, at least. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of your social circle... Oh, we can click on that. Do you want to click on social circle?
Yeah. How many people are in our social circle? Maybe this will tell us. Probably not many.
There's a little picture of Pep's blue ribbon. It's fun.
There we go. Ashley's in my social circle. I recognize that can.
I'll have you know. I'm classy now.
All right, come on, we gotta get serious. It's a serious game. I'm being unserious. I apologize.
I'm trying to... Okay, hold on. I'm trying to actually fix this so our viewers can read the dang thing. I don't know why OBS is only capturing part of my screen. That's a freaking mystery. But I think I can do this now. Maybe this works. I think it might. Okay. Okay, your social circle is made up of a few close friends, some of whom you've known from high school and some from jobs you've worked. You've also made various acquaintances through reluctantly going to social events with Alex, and you try and keep in touch with a few friend of friends that you occasionally run into. Aw, this is nice. You have several online friends that you talk to regularly.
Probably through gaming.
Yeah. You feel less guarded around, possibly due to communicating from the safety of being behind the keyboard. You enjoy the low commitment of the friendships. Hey. Side note, I was just talking to a friend who I've never met in person, but I've known for 15 years through World of Warcraft.
That's nuts.
It's bananas, right? But basically, that friendship works because they don't expect very much of you other than to listen and share personal thoughts and experiences. Despite the low commitment, you feel fairly connected with these people, which is very true.
That's a whole different stream. We need to do one on that. Go on.
We need to make a list. Someone keep a list of all the streams.
Okay, engage family gaming. This is you. Make the list. Totally spot on.
You tend to be more honest with them than the people you interact with in real life on a day-to-day basis.
And you get closer faster.
Yeah, it kind of breeds a sense of false intimacy, but...
Well, but it can progress into true intimacy, which we can talk about on our stream. Go on.
Choo-choo! Okay, steamrolling along. You feel incredibly nervous trying to make new friends on your own and are very good at talking yourself out of going to unfamiliar places, relatable, or larger social engagements, regardless of how much you may actually want to attend. Meeting new people stresses you out to a high degree, and that's something that you wish you could work past. I'm better now. I can do that pretty well now. I'm pretty
really? I'm still not. I don't know about that. When I went to my first PAX, we went on a slight tangent, the one in Seattle where I met all these lovely people, which I will then be seeing in a few days. Again, I remember we got invited to a lunch and I didn't know anyone, and I was like, no way I'm going to go. There's going to be like 10 people there. I don't know anyone, and I forced myself to go, and it was super uncomfortable. But, now I met a bunch of lovely people.
Did you meet them
So
at
I
the
guess
lunch?
I did.
See?
And now we're like one big family. But the anxiety though, the anxiety was legit. I mean, I guess it's a bad example because I pushed through it.
Yeah.
But usually I don't. Usually I wouldn't have. Normally I wouldn't have. It was very abnormal of me to actually go.
So Light just said, I feel like this stream is like the pilot episode where we get a sneak peek at all the other cool streams we'll get to this season. Basically, you two should come on my podcast, says Engaged Family Gaming.
Yeah.
And Steven can come too.
Yep.
And now we're all uncomfortable. Yay!
Yeah, okay. Sorry, continue on. I'm going on. It's the juice and the sleep deprivation.
I will happily have you back on my Twitch stream, and I will happily do a podcast because I love talking. So this is, I pushed through, and now I'm an extrovert, and now you can't shut me up.
There we go. Okay, go on.
Okay, you admit that you have a bad habit of flaking on social engagements, even with longtime friends, and are puzzled as to why some days you just can't force yourself to go see these people that you really do care about. Excuse me.
Right.
Those that have stuck around long enough to be that close to you understand that this is a thing you sometimes do and have seemed to more or less accept it, even though they chide you for it on occasion.
Oh,
however, you've had friends in the past give up trying to maintain a friendship with you because of this trait. That's relatable. Taking your social anxieties as a personal slight or eventually getting tired of trying to track you down all the time. You feel incredibly guilty about this, but you're not quite sure how to change.
But do you want to change? I guess you feel guilty, so you do. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up. But I feel like you can want to change, and then the depression can not allow you to change, or your anxiety.
Oh, that's totally true. Right, for sure. Yeah. But it says, well, because like for me, like, do I want to change? I don't have like an active desire to change and like become extroverted. Like you became over time. Did you have an active desire to make that change? Was it an active? It
was a
decision?
really weird kind of journey of self-discovery where I was like, what I'm doing is not working. So then I need a therapist to walk me through trying different things and then being really uncomfortable and unhappy and scared and then finding the thing that worked for me.
Right.
So it worked for me because I'm actually an extrovert. Yeah. And I had no idea. I thought I was an introvert for ages.
I could have told you that. Go on.
But it's like one of those things that everyone told me, but I wasn't ready to listen, I guess. Maybe.
Well, sure. Right.
Okay. Hashtag gaming. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a day job. So the social circle that we just read about consists of a variety of friends and acquaintances who we met at the day job, which is a little boring, but it pays the rent. So let's find out what our day job is.
All right, let's see.
It's nothing special. We started out getting minimum wage, but have stayed around long enough to be making enough to support ourselves, which in this economy, the work is dull and unrewarding, and most days you feel like just about anyone could do it. I like that there's a keyboard as well, so you're a keyboard jockey of some variety. You have a hard time relating to most of your coworkers, so you mostly keep to yourself and get the work done while you're there. There are one or two people you could chat with, though you wouldn't consider yourself close with them. A lot of days lately you have a really hard time getting out of bed and forcing yourself to go in. You're starting to wonder how long you can keep this up. You'd really like to find another job in your field of interest, but you feel like you are underqualified every time you look for online job postings. Sometimes you think about going back to school, but you're unsure of how you'd be able to support yourself and wonder if the degree would really help anyway.
Okay. Well, that's probably a major contribution to not feeling super great, an unfulfilling job.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep.
So you have this boring job, and you'd like to be doing more with your life, as with your parents. Let's read about parents.
Oh, this is probably going to be crucial to the formula here.
Don't summon Freud. Don't do it.
Oh, it's simmering. Go on.
After this, do you want to read out Stephen's comment? Because I loves me some Kubler-Ross. I love it. I love grief. Okay, so you're one of the few people whose parents...
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said that depression, in her case, through coping with death, that it is a distorted world, looks the same but with depressing lens, lack of better words. Wonder if that's similar. Yeah. So I mean that's beautiful, actually. I've never heard that quote before. I feel like that's pretty accurate.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Especially like in this case, if you're in this narrative. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
that we have a name. We don't have a name yet. Our partner is called Alex, but we don't have a name, I don't
No.
think. So, us, you, in the story, seems to have that depressive lens about their job and their future, right? Doesn't seem
And
like...
their relationship, because even though the relationship's going well and they're being reassured, we feel uncertain that we are
Yeah.
good enough for Alex.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, the lens distorts everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how if it distorts our family.
I'm sure it came from our family. You know the Freud is there.
No, Freud! I told you!
Go on. All right. Sorry.
You were one of the few people who you know of whose parents never got divorced. Look at that. But you do wonder if they still love each other.
Not ideal.
No. You have an older brother named Malcolm who has moved across country with his wife to work at a high-paying job. Every major holiday that you see him at, you feel a bit jealous and like the lesser kid, despite being genuinely happy to see him. You feel very ashamed of these feelings. Your parents genuinely care about you. This often involves inviting you back to your childhood home for dinner, although your mother thinks that you never visit quite enough. But you get the impression that they don't fully understand you. They want to see you succeed and don't know why you haven't gone farther in life yet, because you're so smart and talented. Anytime you've tried to talk to them about your motivation issues, they tell you that the solution is simply to work harder or to want it more. Oh, I hate that so much. Your father is genuinely more forgiving of your lack of a career path. That's harsh. While your mother seems to think you're too smart to be in the position you're in. You know they love you and that they're not bad people, but you really feel like a big disappointment sometimes.
Yeah, so this is an important point, that people who have never experienced what you would call clinical depression don't understand, I think, the overwhelming feeling that it can have in all areas of your life, right? So our parents are saying, just try a little harder, but right, it's not about trying harder.
Right. And
yeah.
I get a little bit frustrated sometimes because I wonder why parents don't see depression in their adult children, or when they do, they don't seem to understand it.
Well, I mean, not everyone is a psychologist. I mean, not everyone is trained to recognize it, right? If you have a child who's smart and they're in this job and you see it's a dead-end job, and I think you would also be like, why are you in this job? You're so smart. Why,
Yeah.
Whereas us in this narrative, it just seems like we're just going through the motions, like, okay, we have this job and it pays the rent. I don't really know what else to do. And I'm also kind of like, down about this other stuff that's happening. And when you're depressed, like clinically depressed, even waking up and getting ready for your day is hard enough, let alone thinking about the overwhelming task it would be to find a new job or figure out how to go back to school or do any of those things.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you want is your dad or your mom. I guess the mom is the harsh one. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel like I talk so much about mental health on the daily that for me it's just like if my kid came to me and said, my hypothetical kid, by the way, my dog's just punching me in the back, so that's cool.
He's like, I'm your kid, Mom.
JP. But if they ever came to me and said, hey, I was diagnosed with depression, I'd be like, all right. Let's get through this. Where instead of like the try harder approach, which...
Right, so you're more sensitive to it, and it might also be a generational thing, because I feel like if I went, maybe my parents are an exception, but if I went to my dad and was like, I'm depressed, he'd be like, what's that? Go back to work.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like legit, my grandparents would be like, what a good cure for depression is? Working harder. Like, suck it up, buttercup.
I survived the Great Depression. Get over it. Work harder. Get a new job.
And Stephen agrees. He said, work harder, defeat depression. That one hits home hard.
Yeah, see, definitions are important, kiddos. Definitions are important.
Okay, so we established us, even though we don't have a name, because I guess it's us, anyone.
It's us.
All of us. You're also dealing with motivation issues that sometimes makes dealing with these things difficult. You feel like
Sure.
this is probably your fault, and on bad days can feel inwardly angry and down on yourself for being lazy, but you're not quite sure how you can break out of it or how other people deal with these feelings and seem so functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on thinking about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep.
All right, I think we should take just 1 minute to point out the motivation issues are intrinsically tied to being depressed, and it's not your fault. Depression is a chemical imbalance. It is something that you learn to treat. So I'm sure that many people have the motivation issue and think it's their fault, but it's not something you did. My screen keeps jumping all weird.
It's because of the internet connection.
Okay.
Bless my little internet. It's trying.
All right, go on. And we're not sleeping, so that's not good. That makes everything worse.
Yeah, it really does. It's an unseasonably warm Wednesday evening. You spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so, you found your job motivation flagging more so than usual. You've been in a fog practically all day today, simply going through the motions without realizing even what you've been doing half the time, and yet time seemed to be moving at half speed. You're so checked out that when your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you can go home early, it barely registers. As you walk home, the streets hiss from recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in classes until late, a couple of hours at least. You briefly consider using this serendipitous solitude to catch up on that project you've been working on haphazardly for the last few months.
Ooh, we have a hobby. That's good. That's promising.
That Digby hits me. Digby, stop. Okay, so the project says, a while back you and some of your older friends were out at a bar catching up. After liquefying considerably more of your paycheck than was perhaps responsible, and ending up thoroughly in your cups, you open up to the only people you've ever really considered yourself close to and end up launching into a drunken tirade about the meaninglessness of your utterly menial job and ultimately your own existence. Relatable. I feel like we've all had that night.
I think that we've had that conversation. Go on. Pretty sure.
The best part of having that conversation is that both of us are still here and we're super strong and we can laugh at it now, but for sure that very much happened. True. So take it from us.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. It'll pass. It actually passes.
Yeah.
Okay. Having never really seen yourself in such a state before, your friends were briefly taken aback by your sudden uncharacteristic outburst. One of your friends suggested that you get involved with your hobby on a more regular, long-term basis, suggesting that spending your energy on something you actually care about might help you better cope with the shittiness of your 9 to 5.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Meaning.
Yeah, for sure. Although you were embarrassed that you let your guard down and you felt self-conscious at seeming to have single-handedly brought the mood down at the table, you convinced yourself on the cab ride home that maybe it would be worth trying out. Like, I feel like a side note there, I have felt those feelings of feeling really like I burdened the people around me by having that tirade, and I have also been in the position of being the friend that listened to the tirade, and it is never a burden. Like, maybe if you did it at someone's wedding, sure, but I
during
feel like,
the vows,
like that would be inappropriate, fair. But I feel like on a night out, you were never a burden if you open up to your friends.
No, and it wouldn't even in the wedding be a burden; it would just be awkward.
Yeah, making memories. You began your project some months ago and have miraculously managed to keep at it, although your level of motivation and subsequent effort rises and falls considerably. While you were surprised when you started at how good it felt to actually work on something you were passionate about, lately you found it hard to muster the energy to really care about even less.
Well, losing interest in things that once found enjoyable is a classic sign of depression. But also, again, want to point out doing things that are meaningful to you, especially in the situation when you're not getting meaning from you're jealous of your brother, your relationship is your job is I would say that it's really important to have a hobby. So that's promising. At least we have something going for us in this story.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
All right.
As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of your brain unbidden. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are, and the amount of work seems nothing less than insurmountable.
Mm.
By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down on you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring down at you from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends your stress levels flying. More than anything, you feel suddenly and absolutely exhausted and feel a strong desire to simply hide in bed. Do you? Number 1, which we cannot click on.
That's no longer an option, so I think we only have 2, 3, and 4.
So the option 1, it says order some food, grab a drink, and hunker down for a night of work. But
because we're not feeling, I think it's because we're not feeling it. We're feeling stressed. We're feeling tired. Like, that's no longer an option. Like, we wanted to do it, but it's too overwhelming. So that's not going to happen.
Right. So instead we can you see it on your screen well enough to read, Rachel?
Yes, some of it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was going to say
the big words I can see. I can't see the little ones now.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to say that by all means, feel free.
I can see the options. Okay, so we can't order some food because I think that we're just not feeling it. Number 2 is reluctantly sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do something. So force some work. 3, turn on the TV telling yourself you just need a quick half hour to unwind. Or 4, crawl into bed. You're so stressed and overwhelmed you couldn't possibly accomplish anything anyways. Well, I mean, are we meant to make the choice that we want to make or the choice that we think that we would make in this current situation?
That's a good question.
Any ideas in the chat room? Like, I mean, I could answer as me, you could answer as you, or we could make our best guess at what we think fits with the narrative of the story. What would you do, Ashley?
So you know how that there's a Facebook meme right now that's like, post the first profile picture of you and then your most recent.
Yes.
So first profile picture, Ashley would crawl into bed and probably drink a beer and maybe do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ashley didn't take care of herself and didn't really understand what would be good for her at the time and have to push through those horrible thoughts and feelings. So current Ashley would just sit down at the desk and try and have a go. And then if I wasn't able to accomplish anything and I really still felt like garbage, then after like 5 or 10 minutes, I would be kind to myself and allow myself to leave the desk and do whatever I think would make me feel good at that time. Healthy good, I mean, not like sad good. So maybe meal prep or, nourish my body with some really tasty, healthy food, or maybe dance for a minute, or maybe watch Jersey Shore.
Wait.
Which is not nourishing for the mind, body, or soul. But sometimes,
Engage family gaming, Jersey Shore. We might make a note of that.
Okay. So the reason why I bring it up is because one of my students today said that my Twitch stream is like the Twitch equivalent of the Jersey Shore. And I was like, what? I've never had like a brawl in my Twitch.
I know. You're nothing like Jersey Shore. Well, I guess it would, from that description from first profile picture Ashley and now current, I guess this person is probably more like first profile picture Ashley, because you see at the bottom it says you're not seeing a therapist, you're not on medication. It sounds like they're in a heightened state of depression. It says you're exhausting, you're becoming more and more withdrawn. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to have to be crawl into bed. Or, crawl into bed probably. I mean, if it was me, I would turn on the TV for a half hour. But I think that this is we're in a more extreme situation at the moment.
Steven says that Jersey Shore makes you feel a little bit better about your own life.
Oh, okay. I'm sure somewhere on the internet there are scientific articles about confirming that being a thing. Because with the Marie Kondo show, the tidying up show. People said, "Oh, the first episode made me feel bad, but the second episode, I've only watched the first episode. I guess the second episode has hoarders. They're like, it made me feel better about my life watching the second episode because they're like, my house isn't so bad. So it's the same thing with Jersey Shore. My life isn't so bad. You're not having brawls in your Twitch stream. No one has that accent. We're doing all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a far removed experience for me that I feel like an anthropologist watching it.
Yeah, see, we could do a stream about that. Write that down. Nah, other Steven. All right.
Okay, so we picked 4. Okay,
we did.
So as much as you like the idea of trying to get work done tonight, the thought of the amount of catching up you have to do instantly freezes you up. The longer you stare at the computer, the higher your stress levels rise until you're on the verge of a full-blown panic attack. Not even wandering into the living room to try and watch TV relaxes you. You soon succumb to the mental and physical exhaustion and crawl into bed, making a point to close your laptop before you turn the light out. You lay in bed for some time feeling disappointed in your own inability to be productive before finally passing out. Mm-hmm. You awake in the morning from a sleep that was far from restful. In fact, it seems impossible, but as though you're more tired than you were when you fell asleep last night. As you pick up your phone to shut your alarm off, you see a handful of text messages from Alex that you apparently missed last night. 2 missed calls, text message. Hey, tried calling when I got out of class, but I guess you're sleeping? ? Text message. Anyway, I hope you had a good day at work, and I hope you were able to get some stuff done when you got home. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm out of class early. Text message. Good night, babe. I love you. So, you're still not seeing a therapist. You're still not taking medication. You're very depressed. Still.
Spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, and have very little energy or motivation. Again, classic depression. I mean, sleeping a lot is one of the criteria that you look at when you're diagnosing. So, all right. Not good. We're not in a good place, Ashley.
Not at all.
All right.
So it's Friday. It's a mild Friday afternoon. So that was Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
We started on Monday, and then it was Wednesday, and now it's Friday. Yeah. Okay. So it's a mild Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that there's going to be a, quote, really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment that one of her roommates is throwing. Okay, so you don't live together. That makes more sense. By the way, previously we didn't have an option. I could just click next and that was it. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Okay. You've hung out with this roommate a few times with Alex and you get along well enough but aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning and have nothing else in particular to do tonight. You're feeling kind of run down, but you are kind of just fatigued all the time lately. Mm-hmm. You mention that you're feeling ill because you're not sure how else to explain those feelings to someone else, and you say that you aren't sure you can make it tonight. There's a second of silence over your phone, but you swear you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her in a week, and she sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She even drops a few suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. Hey, hey, hey. So what do you do?
I mean, if it were me, I don't know. It's hard because they're very depressed. But, I mean, we have an investment in our partner. Like, it's already been stated that we already think we're not exciting enough. We already missed her calls on Wednesday. We haven't seen her all week. I mean, I would probably, what's the chance we can't shake off your funk and have a good time? Oh, yeah, we're not going to have a good time, but maybe we'd agree to go.
So when I had learned enough about myself to know when I just really shouldn't be in public because I was going to make everyone have a miserable time. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of this. So I would be faced with this situation, right, where I would know that there's no way I was going to have fun that night. Mm-hmm. So I could agree to go and literally make everyone miserable and maybe ruin the evening and maybe even get into a fight with the host because I could not, for whatever reason, be social in that moment. And then I eventually found out that this is how I was, so I just tell people, like, look, I'm going to make everyone miserable if I go. I really will be okay. I hope you have a nice time. I'm just not going to go. And that would be in option 3. But first Facebook profile picture, Ashley, would be number 2. and
All
make
right. Well,
everyone's
we're
time
going.
hell.
Our character we have to determine is first profile picture Ashley. So, yep, agree to go, and let's see if we ruin the evening because we're not going to have fun. But I think that trying to placate our girlfriend. I mean, we like our girlfriend. We don't want to lose her. Like that's been stated.
I love that Facebook profile picture, Ashley's.
Yeah.
The one to go to. Because
that like Discord has a little comment here, but working up that. Yeah.
I always had almost the inverse. I knew that if I went, I'd have a good time, but working up the energy to go was actually really rough.
Right. Well,
you're a better person than I am, Light.
Well, it's just a different experience. Everyone's experience with depression is different. Okay, Ashley, I knew you in this time. You're talking about the time in which I knew you. First profile picture, Ashley. Was that later?
That first profile picture was when I just turned 21 and I was in Los Angeles posing with the Chuck Norris star on the Walk of Fame.
Okay, so that was a little bit before I knew you. Not much though.
Not much. We met
mid-20s.
I was 23, 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was like 25. So I think Ashley, profile picture in which I met you, Ashley, would also agree to go. Probably.
Well, let's see how this pans out, and then I can tell you.
Yeah, all right. Oh, the Pabst is back. I told you this is the Ashley I know. All right.
Yep. It's all about that Pabst. Okay. You know what's funny is Costco does Pabst, so I still get it for like my summer parties.
See? Here we go. Classic. Let's go.
You agree to go, even though you're not really feeling social. You know it's important to Alex, and you'd really like to see her.
See?
Seeing her does make you feel better, like Light was saying, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with your usual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around, and you grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away. Well, that's nice. And there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach the building and try to still your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm so happy you came. Nice. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. A young man taps her on the shoulder, and she turns back to you to apologize and let you know that they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with whatever came up. As you look around, you don't see anyone else you recognize.
Oh, that's relatable.
I like that first option as enthusiastically socialize.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Not at all.
Awkwardly stand in the same spot, unsure of what to do. Put your bag in Alex's room and avoid the crowd in there for a while. Cling to the back wall, sip your beer, and wait for your girlfriend to return. Well, 2 and 4 are kind of the same. Proceed to drink in earnest, hoping it makes you feel less uncomfortable. I don't really like option 5. I mean, what do you think?
Are we going with what Facebook Ashley?
First profile picture Ashley, what would she do?
She would have gone trashed to deal with.
Would she? All right. Well, that's who we are, so let's do it.
I told you, unhealthy choices. And to be honest, still to this day, I have to drink in social situations or I can't do them. I don't drink to excess like I used to, but like one beer or like a shot of tequila before I leave the house will, and I Uber. I'm not drinking and driving. I'm not making stupid choices. But that makes me much better at social situations, and I don't get drunk, but it's just that little bit that just dulls my overthinking.
Makes it a little more, yeah. Wait, before you click that, engage family gaming. You say 2 and 4 are not even the same. Awkwardly stand in the same spot or cling to the back wall. Both of them seem to be, well, I guess it's unwritten. Like I was just thinking about me at college parties, and I don't know anyone, and I'm there with my boyfriend, and he leaves me for a minute. I mean, both of those are not socializing and feeling awkward.
I guess one's
drinking.
Number 3, you go into their bedroom. And
no, but 2 and 4.
Oh!
2 is standing still. Oh, and 4 is making a decision. Okay, I guess that's true. But it's still, like, not socializing.
At least you don't.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, okay. All right. I take my comment back.
Oh, yeah. So, Light agreed.
Yeah.
That they're both stationary, but 4 is waiting and 2 is
right. At least he made a decision. All right, but we're doing number 5 because we are 21-year-old Ashley. Let's do it.
This is turning into being really.
This is your therapy session, but you got me here. You're all right.
Do I have to pay you?
The Freud is coming out. We're going back to your childhood. You tried to keep Freud down, but you know what? He always comes back.
Can't keep a good Freud down. Okay. After Alex walks away, you're not quite sure what to do with yourself. Scanning the party for familiar faces yields nothing, and you're not sure where your girlfriend or the birthday girl got off to. You look at the beer in your hand. You know you care a lot less about everything in general when you're tipsy, but you know you should avoid getting drunk and possibly emotional.
Well, you learn from experience.
Hindsight. Also, you're pretty young, right? What'd they say? Mid-20s?
Yeah, we're 21-year-old first profile picture, Ashley. Hello new people.
Hello, occasional player. So he is occasional player is one of my coworkers. Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
Where's the stay-at-home play games option? Right? Like
I know. That
would have been my first choice.
I know. When it had sit and watch TV, I was going to be like, or.
Right. Hi, Right Game. Right Game is amazing. Her stream is amazing, and she does literary analysis of games. So
cool.
Okay, so since we can't stay at home, play games, or watch TV, now we have this beer in our hands.
We're getting drunk.
We're getting drunk and emotional, which is always a good look.
Yeah.
Hashtag Jersey Shore.
And so, this is what I'm starting to understand now. Okay, go on.
You quickly down the beer, hoping that'll loosen you up a little. You down a few more as quickly. Bad plan. As quickly as your stomach will let you handle the carbonation comfortably. Well, at least you're hopefully not gonna spew right away. And wait for it to take effect. By the time it does, Alex has already returned and is introducing you to people. However, all that drinking accomplished was make you even more tired and unfocused, and you stick to your girlfriend for the rest of the night, staying fairly quiet in group conversations. Later that night, as the two of you are both tipsy and dozing off, Alex cuddles up to you and lightly slurs, "I'm really glad you turned up tonight. To be honest, I really didn't think you would show. It's really cool you did, really." You know she meant it lovingly, but you're not quite sure how to feel about that statement. Hey, you didn't cause a scene!
That's a bonus. And he made his girlfriend happy. He should feel good about that. He should feel pretty good about that. Or she, he, us. 21-year-old Ashley feels good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 21-year-old Ashley would not have done that. 21-year-old Ashley would have
caused a scene.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I would have straight up been like, who was that guy you were talking to when I got here?
That's what I thought was going to happen. I was like, who's this dude tapping on her shoulder? I know. Right. I had the same thought.
So my only option was to click next. There's no choice there. Okay, so now it's Saturday. Well, it says a muggy Saturday. I don't know if it's Saturday after, but it's a little afternoon on a muggy Saturday. Your mother has come over for a surprise visit, claiming loudly that she doesn't see you enough, and so she decided to invite herself over.
It's the kind of mother I am. Go on.
You already know.
I already know. Classic.
Hey, Silvaris. How are you?
Hello.
Thanks for joining. Okay, she walks around your place, and you get the distinct impression that you're being inspected.
I wouldn't do that part. I take it back. I'm not like this mother at all.
Relatable.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you lately? She asks abruptly. Taken somewhat abacked by this left fielder, you tell her you're not sure what she means. She repeats the question, saying that you haven't seemed like yourself lately. She gestures to the dirty dishes piled in the sink and notes the fact that you haven't called or visited in a while. Your reticence only seems to spur her on more. She pressures you, asking if you're having problems at work or with Alex, and you're beginning to feel increasingly battered by her sudden, well-meaning but overwhelming inquisition. Under her questions, you become increasingly uncomfortable. You want to be able to explain to her how you've been feeling, but the truth is you're not really sure yourself. Nothing horrific has happened at work or with your significant other or friends or anything like that, but at the same time, you can't deny lately that you just felt drained and as though you're not really here. Here, in quotations. You wish you could tell your mother these things, but she hasn't been approachable about negative emotions in the past. She is the kind of person who holds the opinion that the solution to any problem is to simply try harder and maintain a positive attitude. When people say that. That's
bad advice. Yeah.
Makes me so angry. Okay, Sansa has reared its head in the past. a stance that has reared its head in past conversations when you've begun to explore the subject with her. You know that she's unlikely to be understanding, and you feel the energy drain out of you when you imagine what would happen if you managed to blurt out everything that you're feeling. So what do? Now we have two options that we can't choose from.
Okay, we cannot let her know that you've been feeling down lately and that you appreciate her concern. I wonder why we can't do that, because we're feeling overwhelmed by it. I feel like that should be an option. But anyway, number 2, try to be honest with her. Anyway, we can't do those two. We can tell her everything's fine and thank her for asking, or change the subject. Chuck Norris, Ashley. What would she do?
Well, I pick a fight.
Engage Family Gaming says number 3. Tell her everything's fine and thank her for asking.
Yeah. So, 21-year-old Chuck Norris Ashley would have started a fight and been like, how dare you come here and talk to me about my life? But
well, that might be closer to 4 than 3.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I would have never been like, everything's great. I'd be like, look, I got problems, and one of them's you. So I don't know if I've always been... I maybe always have been sassy, or I was just a butthole.
Okay, well, if that... I don't know, Stephen, if it omits choices based on previous choices. Maybe it does. I was actually starting to be concerned that it's kind of like Bandersnatch on Black Mirror's Bandersnatch. Have you watched that yet, Ashley?
No, but they're getting sued. Did you hear that?
I know, but they're going to lose. That's a stupid loss. Write that down. We can talk about that. But it's choose your own adventure. And I mean, there's kind of different endings, but really it's kind of like meta in the sense like the choices you make don't really have that much of an impact. So I was starting to think that this game, like almost no matter what you pick, because it explains all the choices. So we chose to crawl into bed, and then the next page was like, okay, you watched TV, you tried to work, and in the end you crawled into bed. So it's like we tried all the other choices anyway. So I'm not totally sure that our choices change the narrative.
So this is your meta commentary on the game structure. So it might not have a brand new narrative.
Right, that's what I'm saying, because Stephen was asking.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if it does. Hey, what's up, Chuck Long? Ghost number 5, kick mom out of home.
Kick mom out of home. That was Ashley's choice, but that's not an option.
I was feeling fighty.
See, we'll go with change the subject, but yeah. Or
I think that maybe because we chose to drink, so we were saying like, oh, we got drunk at the party, there was no consequences, that's the right option, but maybe it wasn't, because maybe that's why 2 is blocked out now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game's way of punishing us for binge drinking.
All right. Well, let's change the subject.
Can you watch TV in bed, says occasional player, right?
Yeah. That wasn't an option.
I think it's trying to pull this is what you want to do, but you can't because you're depressed, says Light.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to change the subject by trying to get an argument, but I don't. That's what I would do. I don't know that that's what happened, so. Oh, just narrowing down your options less and less as the game goes. This game gets dark.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see. Okay.
Says Stephen. So, I guess we're not at the dark parts yet. Okay, are you okay? It's a question you've been finding yourself being asked a lot lately, and it's one that has begun to make you instantly uncomfortable. It's one you would have to spill your guts to adequately describe, which would be an almost impossible feat to perform at the moment. Even if you managed to, you'd have to fight through your self-loathing long enough to keep talking, despite feeling like everything you're saying amounts to simply belly aching. It's somehow you powered through that as well. You'd have to live with feeling truly exposed, as you figure anyone who would know all these things would be put off to you permanently.
Just a side note, it's not belly aching. If you're depressed and you need to talk to someone and you need help, it's not belly aching.
Yeah. And like also if you feel like, oh, I'm going to burden, and we mentioned this before, I don't want to burden my mom by talking about how I'm feeling. No.
Oh, I'm a mom. Your mom wants to listen to everything. She'll listen to everything. I promise.
Aww.
Go on.
It's true though. It's true.
Yeah.
More importantly, despite your mother's best intentions, she is quite likely to be the worst possible person to try and wade through all this bullshit with.
Maybe.
Could be.
But she would listen. Anyway.
She might not understand, but she would listen. And
Yeah.
this doesn't
Yeah.
mean like this doesn't have to be your biological mom either. This can be your adoptive
Right.
mom or like your mom of choice, right?
Right. Right. Your family is your family. Your
Yep.
family. Your friends are your family. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You evade the question by pretending you have received a text message. Oh, no mom would
The
fall.
classic.
I know. My mom would like slap the phone out of my hand and be like, now. Once you pretend as though you finish reading it, you change the subject back to what you know your mother is interested in. She takes the bait and the topic is successfully changed. A feel of unease lingers and your stress levels stay high until she leaves a bit later. You wonder if you should talk to someone about all of this, someone who would be more sympathetic and not tell you to simply think positive.
Yes, I think that you should. We should, but we are not seeing a therapist. Therapist would be a good choice for that.
So, did our status change? I feel like our status changed.
Oh, it did.
We're deeply depressed now.
Oh, okay.
And we're in a near constant state of lethargy.
But still no therapist and still no medication.
No. And our little images are getting darker.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, the
Game
Polaroids.
Yeah.
Darker and darker. Okay, it's a lazy Sunday morning. You are idly clicking around online as your phone rings. Sam, a coworker of yours that you're friendly with, asks how you are and makes hurried small talk with you. You typically only ever talk to him on the phone when one of you needs a shift covered, so it's slightly awkward. You're waiting in anticipation for him to ask you to come in on short notice when he veers the conversation in a completely different direction. How do you feel about cats? Yes. Mine had kittens a few weeks ago, and I'm having an awfully hard time finding a home for the last one to litter. You don't have any pets, right? It takes you a moment to process this new information, and you're caught off guard as he begins to earnestly try to sell you on the idea of taking the last kitten off his hands. It's not something he had specifically considered before, and he seems fairly insistent. She's a real sweetheart, really loves people. She's got all her shots already taken care of, and the vet said she's healthy as a horse. I can bring her over by your place tonight if you're interested. You look around your apartment, try to picture a cat in it as he continues to tell you about how cute she is. You tell him that this is kind of sudden and that you don't have anything for a kitten set up here. Oh, don't worry about that. I can bring over a litter box and food, and since you'd really be helping me out, it's the least I could do. I just don't want to put her in a shelter. You can't help but feel like you're being guilt-tripped. You decide to give it some serious consideration. It does get awfully lonely around your apartment, and it might feel less empty with a cat around. However, since you've been feeling so down, it might not be a good idea to take on the responsibility of a cat, even though they're fairly low maintenance. What do you do?
Well, the chat is exploding, apparently. Number one, take the cat knowing full well you could take great care of it. I mean, that's not an option. Decline, even though you're totally capable of taking care of it. You're not much of a cat person. Also not an option. So we can become a cat owner. You could use the companionship. We do know that is true. You can decline, you're not in a good enough place to take on more responsibility, or decline, you don't like cats. I mean, you don't like cats was not part of our bio, and I feel like everyone will revolt if we don't take the cat. So I think we should take the cat.
Also,
and 21-year-old Ashley was a cat person.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep.
I was always an animal person. I would definitely have taken the cat. Oh, yep. Kitty.
You're still an animal person.
I still like cats even though I have dogs. I just like to give cat people crap because it's funny. But yeah. Okay. So we accept the offer of the kitten and hang up shortly after making arrangements for when your coworker can drop her off tonight. After hanging up, you worry if you've suddenly taken on a responsibility that you can't handle and hope you don't make the small animal suffer for it. You're not entirely sure what to expect, and you spend the rest of the afternoon researching cat care online and trying to think of a name.
Oh, well, that's good. We're being productive. That's good.
Yeah, we seem like somewhat emotionally invested in this.
Yeah.
Okay. The evening rolls around and you hear a knock at your door, startling you out of reading Wikipedia entirely too hard. You take possession of a small, terrified black and white kitten in a carrier, along with everything you need to start taking care of her. You take her into your bedroom, close the door, and open the door of the carrier excitedly. She cowers at the back of it, and you back off, feeling slightly defeated. You remember what you researched on introducing a kitten to a new home and leave her alone to go mess around on your computer, hopefully checking over your shoulder every so often to see if she's come out yet. She hides inside her carrier, periodically making sorrowful cat howls long enough for you to start worrying that she already doesn't like you. But by the time you've gone to bed, she's curled up at the foot of it, eyeing you nervously before falling asleep.
Aww.
Aww. For the next few days, you gain her trust, and she begins affectionately following you around, sleeping on you and hopping up on you anytime you sit down to do some work.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
But we're still deeply depressed, even though we have a kitty cat.
We are, but it did say you opened the door to the carrier excitedly. So that's good. It's something.
Maybe
it's a moment.
Maybe the next one will have better options.
Yeah.
That's Pizza Box. Okay. It's late Friday afternoon, and quitting time is just around the corner. A bright, clear day is giving way to a still, temperate evening. You can hear your coworkers all around you anxiously making plans for their evenings and weekends, but you're really looking forward to just going home and resting after what's turned out to be a very long and taxing work week.
He wants to go back to that cat.
I thought you meant someone in chat. Now you mean us.
No, I mean us. We want to get back to our cats.
No, for sure. Duh.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously.
Just before the end of your shift, you get a call from Alex. It seems a group of your mutual friends are heading out to a nearby pub for dinner and drinks to celebrate the end of the week, and they want to know if you would like to come along. You tentatively tell her that you're too emotionally exhausted from the work week, and a social outing would just take too much out of you. You encourage her to go have a good time since you know it's been a while since she's gone out with friends, but the effort feels futile since you know she isn't going to go without you. A couple hours later, the two of you find yourselves in a familiar position, on the couch, watching comedy shows on Netflix, a box of pizza open on the coffee table in front of you. As you look across the couch at her, you start to feel anxious. You feel bad about effectively forcing the two of you to stay in tonight, again. While you are always appreciative of your partner's efforts to take your feelings into account and help make sure you are socially comfortable, you sincerely worry that you're holding her back from a more enjoying, fulfilling relationship. While she doesn't seem to enjoy spending time with you, as the two of you... Sorry, I misread that. While she does seem to enjoy spending time with you, as the two of you sit in comfortable, almost contented silence watching old shows you've seen 2 or 3 times before, your ever-increasing fear that your relationship is becoming one-sided weighs more and more heavily on you. You feel more than ever like a burden or a ward to her, and it's virtually impossible for you to see what value you could possibly offer her in return. Worst of all, this nagging fear has made you feel more self-conscious than ever, withdrawing inwards, and you've started to pull away from even Alex herself. What do you do?
Well, again, I feel like this is something that a lot of people with depression experience when you feel you're becoming a burden on other people instead of, it's really hard to kind of take a step back and look objectively at, well, she did come over and she is watching TV and she is eating pizza and she could have been like, no, going out. More important news, what's the cat's name? That's what the chat wants to know.
Well, my cat back then was called Molly, but I feel like this one we could call Grief.
Grief.
Hey, Silent Muffin! Oh, is there a raid? Did someone raid us? Woohoo! Thanks for the raid. Oh, Silent Muffin raided us. Thank you.
Don't know what that means.
Oh, a raid is when, so I'm guessing Silent Muffin just finished her stream, and so she brought all of her viewers with her to the stream.
Oh, yeah, hello. Well, that was nice. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome people who like to watch horror games. I mean, this is kind of scary, but for not great reasons.
Not for classical reasons. Okay, we'll go to the options. So, we cannot do 1 through 3. 1 is, despite bad times, your girlfriend sincerely loves you, relationships are a two-way street, and you resolve to always be there for her like she has been there for you. Yeah, I feel like that would take a lot of effort. We're not in that kind of mood. 2, tell Alex how important she is to you. And goodness. Okay, so none of those. So we have to do 4, don't say anything. You're already worried about her being upset with you. Oh, the cat's name. We named the cat Grief.
Yeah. So also, if you're just joining, Dr. Rachel Kowert is a psychologist who writes a lot about video games, and that's her specialty. So if you would like to ask her any questions about depression or video games and mental health or anything like that, please feel free to do so in chat. Yes, the depression party has expanded. Where's my party popper?
I know, you didn't bring them.
Okay, so I cope with serious topics and with depression with humor, which is not in the best taste all the time, but that's why. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful by laughing and giggling. It's like a coping strategy. Okay. So we had to pick the last option because that was the only one we could pick.
Yes.
So now we have the Netflix icon here.
All right. More Netflix.
This is far from the first time you would have to have this conversation with her, and one that plays out.
We're not having the conversation, I thought. Didn't it say nothing?
You would have had. Sorry.
Oh, you would have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't read.
Okay, no, that's fine. I can't read it either. That's why I was asking.
Who let the dyslexic person read? I'm disappointed in the quality of the stream. Okay. It's mine. No. Okay, this is far from the first time you would have had this conversation with her, and it's one that plays out the same way every time. You explain your fears of being worthless. She tries to tell you that she doesn't see you that way. You insist that she is biased or just being nice to you because she's your girlfriend, and she gets frustrated. It never resolves, nothing new is ever said, and rarely do you feel reassured by it. Occasionally she tries to broach the subject, trying to discover why you feel like this about yourself. This always makes you feel nervous. You're sometimes convinced that the only reason she's still with you is because she doesn't know how awful you really are. As time has gone on, you've gotten more comfortable trying to express bits and pieces of your insecurities to her, but it still causes you to feel very on guard, and it's not a conversation you can have for too long without worrying you're going to scare her away. The weight of an unspoken, unresolved issue in your relationship joins you in the room for a little while, but you dare not pick at it for the rest of the night. So we're still deeply depressed.
We're ruminating now over our relationship, which seems to be like the one positive beacon of light in the in our world, because our job is not great. Our mom doesn't understand us. Dad is harsh. We're jealous of our brother, and now we're ruminating over relationship issues.
Yeah. So all we can do is click next.
All right.
So a lot of this is taking place on the weekends now.
I know, we're just skipping weeks. The weeks are going by.
Maybe it's because we don't care about our job.
Maybe.
But this picture is at least more colorful than the last one. Okay, it's a breezy Sunday afternoon. You've allowed Amanda, an old friend from school that's in town for the weekend, to talk you into leaving the house for a coffee to catch up. You meet her in a small cafe and talk about what you've been up to since you last seen each other, and you can't help but feel like they're a lot more accomplished and interesting than you are while listening to them talk about their life after school. When it's your turn to brief them on your activities, you feel anxious and ashamed to give a very abbreviated version. You try to talk about your job as little as possible, and you feel incredibly bored while you describe it, despite her expressing sincere interest in you and your life. Amanda has known you long enough to read your mood and tone of voice. She leans in to ask a question while gently touching your hand, a look of genuine concern on her face. What's wrong? Do you? Oh, we have more options this time.
All right. Well, we're still deeply depressed, though. Suggest a change of location and confide in her honestly. No. Test the waters and open up a little, hoping she'll understand. That seems like a good option, but it is unavailable to us. Insist nothing is wrong and change the subject. 21-year-old Ashley's option. Definitively ask what she means by that, or notice that your hands are shaking. All right. 21-year-old Ashley.
So Engage Family Gaming says, isn't that kind of how it works? The work week drones on because there's a fixed schedule. The weekends are free to let your mind wander.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially, I guess, if your job is very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Mechanical.
I mean, this is part of the reason why I dreaded, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's because I'm an extrovert, but sometimes I'm like,
I'm fulfilling.
This is a thing. I think I'm so fulfilled by my job and I love interacting with students so much that I legit get depressed during winter and summer breaks
Because you're not doing it.
because I'm not doing it. So I don't
Yeah.
have purpose in my. I mean, I still work, I still have research, and I still have a set schedule, and I still have stuff to do. But it's like I don't have that same level of interaction,
Right.
and it even on weekends. I know this sounds totally bonkers, but even on weekends, I'm like, what's my purpose? Like there are no
So
students here.
if you were the reverse of that, then what Engaged Family Gaming is saying that we could probably go by, and the weekends would be something. Okay, to look forward to. All right. So what's 21-year-old Ashley going to do with her friend Amanda?
Delcoa says that I didn't think I'd relate to this so much so quickly.
So quickly. I know.
Yeah.
Like every paragraph from the very beginning, we've been like relatable.
Yep.
Relatable.
Yeah. I think I might go with Engaged Family Gaming says.
What did he say? 5.
Mhm.
Notice that your hands are shaking.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I feel like you're on the cusp of, like, someone's called you out and you're feeling super vulnerable, and you're on that cusp where you're gonna like break down.
And you can tell she's being genuine. It says.
Yeah.
Like it's not like your mom where you feel like she's not going to listen to you or she's not going to understand.
It's such a small question, but it feels like a blow to the gut. You surprise yourself when you realize that your tightly clenched fists are now beginning to shake slightly. Despite your best efforts, you feel tears begin to sting at your eyes. You try to disguise this by hilting your head up and praying that they'll suck back in.
Relatable. There you go. Yeah.
Yep. She suggests that the two of you get out of there, and you feel mortified. She offers to go back to your apartment with you, but the two of you end up talking in her car for 2 hours as the words just pour forth from you. Relatable. Amanda seems unsure of what to say at times, but she listens and rubs your back as you sob and talk. She asks if you've gone to a doctor about this, and you admit that you haven't. She mentions that her mother is seeing a very good therapist in town and offers to ask her about it. You're not thrilled by the idea of going to a therapist, and even less thrilled that Amanda might be telling someone about your problems. But she persists and tells you that she'll email you the doctor's contact information later in the week.
It's a good friend. See? Not a burden. She's not burdened.
No, not at all.
No.
And your friend won't be burdened either.
Yep.
So there's no options there. We just get to click next. It's a glaringly sunny Monday. Okay, so we're back to maybe a work day. Oh, I think this is when I noticed when an old friend called me out. It says Engaged Family Gaming. And Light Discordant says long discussions in someone else's car is basically my aesthetic. It's so bananas. Like, I'm really glad that we read the first description of this game and how it's like this kind of conglomeration of different people's experience of depression, and it's meant to be relatable because it is super relatable. I mean, mileage will vary. This is not everyone's story, but super relatable.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. One of the few days that your brother Malcolm is in town and free long enough for you two to actually see each other. We remember Malcolm is our brother. It's our older brother who we love, but we are a little bit jealous of.
Yes, because he's the parents find him to be more successful, right?
Mm-hmm. You have a dental... Sorry.
Comments. We're relating. Relatable. Go on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those conversations are the best and the worst at the same time. They're magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also used to listen to a lot of Radiohead, like, during those conversations.
Radiohead is also magical.
I know, I'm laughing because it's so cheesy, but...
Yeah.
But sure. Okay.
Yeah.
You have a dental appointment that day, but you make plans for him to pick you up afterward. Your appointment takes a little bit longer than expected because your dentist tells you that you started grinding your teeth in your sleep to a worrying degree. Great. Given how nearly everything in your life has been feeling enormous and stressful lately, this doesn't come as a surprise to you. He suggests that you try to reduce your stress levels and fits you for a night guard. It feels awkward and too big for your mouth, and you feel embarrassed looking at your puffed out face in the mirror with it. You finish up the appointment in a hurry and leave about half an hour overdue for your meeting your always punctual brother in the parking lot. You finish up as quickly as possible and leave the building to scan the parking lot for your brother's car, but you don't see his old Civic anywhere. You pass by a blue Camaro and jump as it beeps at you, causing you to jump in surprise. It takes you a moment to realize it, but it's Malcolm in the driver's seat. You hop in the passenger seat and compliment him on his new ride, and he mentions that it's a perk of a promotion he's recently obtained at work. He starts telling you about how much more money he's making, how his career's really taken off, and how he started looking at houses with his wife soon. You clutch the bag containing the night guard in your hand and feel yourself clench your teeth as you think of your crummy apartment and how long it's been since you've been able to take a day off work without having to worry about making ends meet. He's only 2 years older than you, but it feels like he's eons ahead of you in every other aspect of your lives. So, he asks, how'd your appointment go? Did you get drilled full of holes or what? A sense of shame creeps over you.
I think this little scenario is interesting too because it's all about idealizing other people's experiences, right? So everything in my life is bad and everything is amazing in Malcolm's life. Just because Malcolm has a new car doesn't mean everything's amazing. Doesn't mean he's got it all together.
It's very true.
Okay, so laugh about your dorky night guard with your brother. No, I don't feel like we have that kind of relationship. Tell him about the night guard and why you need it. You can't do that either. I guess we're embarrassed. So we can lie and tell him we got a cleaning. Oh, man, he might notice the bag in our hand. Or tell him about your tooth grinding problem, but not the stress causing it. All right, so we're not going to open up to Malcolm.
So
yeah, social comparison. Exactly, Stephen. Exactly.
What Chuck Norris Ashley would have done is probably snap at him. I apparently am aggressive. I don't know, but I would have been like, "Yeah, I'm glad your life is so great, sweet car. Like my teeth are falling out because I'm so stressed. You butthole."
Okay. Well,
who's keeping the list of why I'm a bad person? Whose job was that?
Engage family gaming. You're keeping a list, not why you're a bad person. Everybody reacts differently, but I think that's, there's something to be said. The social comparison model, you tend to compare people and you think that everybody's got it better than you and, you've got it worse, or everything the bad that happens to you is because of something you did, whereas if something bad happens to someone else, it's because of outside influences and not because of something they did because they're perfect.
Yeah.
They're not. So let's tell them throw the night guard at Malcolm. Option 5.
I'm not keeping track of why anyone is a bad person.
Okay, so Chuck Norris Ashley says number 4. We can
would a roundhouse kick the tooth guard into Malcolm's face.
Yeah, yep, that's number 4. It just doesn't quite describe it that way.
Yeah, okay. So what do you think, side note, this is just from something we were just talking about the social comparison model. What do you think about social media? What kind of role do you think social media plays in that?
I mean, we should do a stream on that. The short answer, social media can exacerbate the problem, not only just because you see pictures of people totally filtered with no pores, and then you look in the mirror and you say, oh my God, what do I look like? That's what happens to me, right? And all the other teenagers and women in the world, but also people tend to post only the positive things, the happy things, and then you see that and you think somebody's life is all happy and perfect and no pores, and your life is not that, because nobody's life is that. So I don't know if I'm not like up and up on the research on that. That's not like my specific area of expertise, but
for sure.
I've definitely seen it come across my desk, and it absolutely will exacerbate the problem. But saying that, social media is not all bad. Social media could also do great things with social comparison. Like if you consider Twitch a form of social media, which I would. Right now we're talking about depression and getting honest with depression and saying, hey, you're not alone. Hey, this was my experience. Hey, these people in the chat, this is their experience too. So this is a nice positive study in social comparison, and that, okay, we aren't all perfect. We all have the similar experiences, blah, blah, blah. So.
Yeah, I found that I've had to limit how much time I spend on Facebook and Instagram because I see like so many people posting those ideal life pictures.
Right.
And I'm not into call out culture, and I'm also not into like shitting on people who want to post pictures of their beautiful family. Like, do it. Your family's gorgeous. Like, why would you not? That's not your problem. That's my problem, right?
Right.
So I need to fix my problem by limiting my contact on social media because it makes me feel like crap. But that's not your fault. That's
Right. But I think that
My
is
thoughts.
like the normal experience. You see what Steven's saying. This is more in his wheelhouse. Tons of science. We are happier when we view our own profile, but sad when we view others. So
Mm-hmm.
when we post, like you post beautiful pictures of your dogs. So when you see like your dogs play, the one where you look like Jon Snow, that's a really good one. And when you look at that one, I'm sure that that would probably give you like the spike in happiness. But then when you look at other people's, just like you're saying,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have
Yeah.
a positive experience. And I'm definitely not perfect. You're only a best friend would say that. Thank you.
Pretty darn
Thank you.
close.
No, 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 no. All right.
And
What
humble
happened?
too.
No.
Okay, back to the story.
Yeah.
The dentist said I'm apparently grinding my teeth too much when I sleep, you piece of crap, brother. Maybe if you
Yeah, I
called me
know.
once in a while, you would know that.
Yeah.
Oh, Malcolm replies, been stressed out lately, kiddo? Oh, he did not. He did not just call us kiddo. This dude.
Don't like that. Not
Mm-mm.
feeling that.
Deciding that you don't really want to get into it. Oh, I want to get into it.
No, you don't want to talk
Take off
about it
my
with
earrings.
Malcolm. Yeah, yeah. You're hilarious there.
You tell him that you don't think that's the case, and it's probably just a random thing. He doesn't pry further and instead begins reminiscing about the time you chipped a baby tooth because he accidentally knocked you over.
Interesting relationship we have with Malcolm.
Malcolm, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, you go out for dinner and catch up on things, and you still feel somewhat distracted by the gnawing anxiety in the back of your mind. Though you enjoy your brother's company, you still feel like you want nothing more than to go home and hide from the world tonight. It becomes hard for you to try and stuff all your horrible feelings down and go emotionless when someone like the dentist can see a fraction of what goes on inside of your head. It leaves you feeling embarrassed and weak, and you hate yourself for feeling that way. You wonder if you're really fooling anyone into thinking you're a normal person, and then you wonder if your brother knows and is hanging out with you out of pity. After he drops you back off at your apartment, you throw the night guard out. You can't stand to even look at the thing.
Your brother probably doesn't know, and he's not hanging out with you for pity because he doesn't know because you're not telling anyone. And we sound very overwhelmed by the entire situation, which I think is a pretty common experience, relatable experience.
Yeah.
Oh, True Blood Lafayette, Ashley. Oh, that's your new nickname. I love it, Lafayette. That's okay. Lafayette, Ashley. We're going with that.
The chat's really good tonight. Might I add.
It is. I mean, the True Blood reference has elevated it.
Yeah. You brought a strong crew with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm impressed.
My peeps.
Oh, they're great.
Yes.
Okay, so now our status has changed.
Oh, we're profoundly depressed. Oh no, it's getting worse. But you're bottling it up, and that's what happens. And I know that that's like the common coping mechanism. I'm even definitely guilty of that. I don't know about Lafayette, Ashley. She let it out in different ways, but
yeah, maybe not the healthiest of ways, but yeah. Although I have had the barely functional days that you can't even get out of bed. That has happened.
Right.
It's a dry Sunday morning. So we had to click next. No other options there. You grab your morning coffee and scoot your rapidly growing kitten off your office chair, and despite her protests, sit down at your desk to check your email. A new message pops up in your inbox almost as soon as you do. It's from Amanda, and you remember your meeting at the cafe and awkwardly bring up your feelings to her. Subject: Hey, buddy. The buddies and the kiddos, that just feels so condescending.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, when your friend opens up.
Hey, champ.
I know.
Don't even. Okay. The body of the email says, hey, sorry it's been a few weeks. I meant to get this to you sooner, but it took a while for me to get a hold of my folks back home. Dad told me to say hi, by the way. Anyway, I remember what we talked about and the last time I saw you, and I hope you weren't insulted, but I asked my mom for the number for her therapist. Don't worry, I didn't tell her who it was for. I think she's worried about me now, though. Ha ha ha. Anyway, the number is beep beep boop bop. And it's a really good office. You should look into it. Talking to someone never hurts. If you're worried about money, don't be. They're one of the few that can be really good at... They're one of the few that has a really good sliding scale fee system and won't charge you what you can't afford. I hope you're feeling better. It was really nice seeing you again. A. It's still early enough that you could call and make an appointment today. Your kitten curls up in your lap as you consider what to do.
All right. So number 1, can't do it, but it says call the therapist number. You're looking forward to the help you think they can offer. Yeah, People who are profoundly depressed are not having that thought, that's for sure. True, try your luck and call the number, even though the mere thought of talking to someone makes you anxious. She cared enough to send it to you after all. Also not an option. All right, we can sleep on it and see how you're feeling in the morning. You're not keen on the idea, but you don't want to disappoint Amanda. Well, that's interesting. So we still don't want to do it for ourselves. It would just be to not disappoint Amanda. Number 4, close the email without thinking more of it. It's been embarrassing enough already. Well, I don't like those options.
No, and it's early too. It's early enough to still call the doctor's office, but you want
I know. Well, Lafayette Ashley.
I'm going to go find Amanda. No, I'm kidding. Amanda's not the enemy here. I would do number 3.
Sleep on it. All right.
Although, that's like the least bad.
I would like to do number 2.
Yeah.
I feel like number 2 would have been, profoundly depressed, barely functional. Okay. We'll do 3. We're doing a lot of sleeping these days. So.
I know, but we can't pick 2.
I know we can't pick 2. I wish we could.
Makes me so sad. Also, in chat, it says, sidebar, Steven says, thank you all for doing this. Ashley and Rachel, this is fun. And thanks then Light said, for real.
Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, this is, I'm really glad that Rachel agreed to this.
Well, as Engaged Family Gaming pointed out, this is in fact the longest I have played a game in recent memory. So thanks for inviting me.
It's a lot of fun and it's really informative, and I think
it is. I think it's great. I think it's relatable. It's great.
Yeah, and it's a chance that I think when we were doing our PhDs, we never thought that we could have like an impact like this. So it's kind of nice to be able to use that piece of paper for something.
Something useful.
This feels more useful than any paper I've ever written. I'll say that.
It's being viewed by more people than anyone who has read our paper.
Sorry, I can't not cackle at that because it's so true.
I know.
We spend so long writing these papers that no one reads.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, back to the story. Okay.
Yes.
So the thought of picking up the phone and calling someone about this right now is overwhelming. Sure, you're having a hard time lately and have motivation issues, but are you really in need of therapy? Shouldn't you just be able to get over it yourself?
No.
What if they put you on medication that makes you feel like a zombie?
Well, then you're not on the right medication. There's options. Go on.
What if you go to the therapist? What if you go and the therapist looks down on you?
That won't happen.
What will Alex think about this?
That's not her. Someone else's opinion of you doesn't matter. Somebody said that recently, and I heard it, and I think that's a great quote.
Plus, Alex seems decent. Alex seems like she'd be super supportive about it.
Or if it's someone else's opinion of you is not your business. Yeah, and I do think she would be supportive of it. But if you need the therapy, and if you want to go to therapy, I've been in therapy for years. I never once considered the opinion of my husband. Going to therapy, that is, like, it was my decision. Like, why? Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, trying to think about all these things at once makes it feel like a very big deal, and you decide to take your time to think on it. The rest of the day passes quickly, and at night you have a hard time trying to sleep because your brain is too busy thinking about all of these things, imagining all the ways it could go horribly wrong. The next morning, you check your email again with a blurry eyesight and a mewing kitten. Amanda's email is still there, seemingly waiting for you. You are no more decided than you were yesterday. What now?
All right. Just call already. It can't hurt to check it out. That's not an option. We can call after wrestling it for a few minutes longer, or don't call. This is just too much for you to deal with right now. Well, I mean, Lafayette, Ashley.
This is real. I have had anxiety attacks over making doctor's appointments in the past, especially for like obsessive compulsive disorder related things, which is actually my official diagnosis. So my anxiety and my depression actually stem from OCD. And it's not like the cute OCD where it's like, oh, I have to mop my floors all the time and they just have to be sparkling. Like, that's not how my OCD manifests itself. It manifests itself through ritualization So if I don't do things in a particular order, I think I'm going to die, and like my whole family's going to die, which saying that out loud is ridiculous. Like, it sounds totally ludicrous, but it's obviously more nuanced than that. Mm-hmm. So what I had to do to get myself to overcome this anxious thinking of like, okay, if I oh crap, you'll know this, what's catastrophization, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what's called? Yeah. So in order to beat that, and which is essentially like your mind logics, it's very broken logic, but your mind works itself through every single scenario in the worst possible case.
Yeah.
So like, oh, my alarm went off late, I'm going to be late for work, my boss is going to get mad at me, therefore I'm going to lose my job, therefore I'm going to become homeless, and therefore I'm going to die on the streets just because you're 5 minutes late, right?
Yeah.
So I would have to set an alarm on my phone, or I'd have like a rule. Like, you can look at 3 posts on Reddit and then you have to call. Or you're going to set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and then you're going to call. And then having that goalpost, I was like, all right, I promised myself, so now I have to do it. So I would
say... Oh, that's good. So you broke it down into smaller pieces. Like, okay.
Or I would allow myself to procrastinate for X number of minutes or X number of Reddit posts.
Right, and then you would force yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then, with the reward that as soon as I finish, I can go back to the Reddit post, or I can go back to...
You can go back to bed.
Whatever it was I was doing,
Yeah.
So I would probably pick call off the rest of it.
Light says, I want to say 2, but if I'm being honest with myself, in real life, I'd wind up picking 3, which is not good. Don't be light, be better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think 2, if we'll pick 2 because we are role playing Chuck Norris Ashley, but I think that if you picked 3, I mean, maybe eventually you would work your way back to 2. Depends. Everybody's bottom is different, and like it's mentioned in the beginning, less than half actually see a therapist, so maybe 3 is actually more realistic. I mean, we can pick 2, but
I mean, maybe back then I would have picked 3.
Okay.
Maybe this is like post-therapy. Ashley does the...
All right, well, we're not doing post-therapy, Ashley.
Okay.
Chuck Norris Ashley. We're not calling.
I mean, Chuck Norris Ashley was fun. She was a good time, but... Okay.
It was a good time, but yeah, not too happy. Profoundly depressed.
And dealing with, like, crippling obsessive-compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
So... pick number 3. The sight of Amanda's email address in your inbox sends your heart racing. You almost had forgotten about the horribly awkward conversation from a few weeks ago. Now, upon reading through her email, memories of how ashamed and embarrassed you felt talking about your problems wash over you as if you were experiencing them anew. Overcome by the sudden vivid recollection of your emotional outburst, it's all you can do to close the email as quickly as you can and step away from the computer to try and find something else to take your mind off of it. Playing with your kitten helps.
To be fair, I think your kitten was a good idea. I think that's a very good description of like how you would feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, for those of you out there who might be struggling with similar thoughts and feelings, this is my advice as a friend, and by no means a medical professional or a mental health professional, but that timer thing, or the I'm only going to look at 3 Reddit posts before I do whatever it is I need to do, that really helped me. That's the only way I ever got therapy or help, or some days even got out of bed, was by like bargaining with myself, which seems very strange. But the thing about therapy and about making positive mental health changes is there's no judgment. Whatever works
for
works.
you.
Yeah. Like, as long as it's a healthy choice and not like drugs or alcohol.
And over here in the chat, what Light is saying is like by the time you have the energy to make the call, is when you tell yourself that it's fine and you're on the up. Right. So if you're like profoundly depressed, you're right. Light, you're right. You're probably not going to call.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because that's what you need.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating too when you're like, oh, that's happened. It's totally relatable, right? It's happened where I'm like, oh, I feel better, or now I feel like I can call the doctor, but I'm better now, so I don't need to.
Right, so I don't need to. Yeah.
My therapist is also really good about making appointments in advance for like potentially upsetting situations. So like, you know, just normal things that stress you out in life, like a job review. Okay, we'll have a meeting afterward to decompress, or visiting family for the holidays.
Yeah.
Which
Although you were in
sounds
Mexico.
cruel. This holiday was really good, but in the
That's
past
all right.
it's not been so cheerful. So.
Yeah. Well, family and holidays.
Yeah. Family, if you're watching this, I love you.
I love you so much. Mom, you're the best. Go on.
But also, sometimes I need to talk to my therapist. Okay. So it's early on a Wednesday morning. Lately, you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10 to 20 minutes before your alarm rings, and unfortunately, today is no exception. You lay in bed, each minute ticking closer and closer to wake-up time, and passing on a swelling wave of ever-encroaching dread. Sooner than you would like, your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and then retreat under your blankets as the warmth of your comforter can shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today the simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. Sorry. You know, I never knew what phonics were until I was in university in my Spanish classes and learning how to... Yeah, anyway, so that's fun. I just faked it. Isn't that awful? Like, I never learned phonics, I just faked it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so after several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with work today. You're incapable of even rousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a work day. Not to mention you've snoozed so many times that it'd be impossible to make it in on time now anyways. What do you do? Oh, no.
This is dwindling. Okay. Hop out of bed and start getting ready for work. You'll be late, but it's better than not going in at all. Head into work. At least you can leave early if it gets too unbearable. No, we are going to call our boss and tell them we are sick and we will not be in today.
So my advice for students and coworkers and friends who are experiencing the type of depression where they just don't even want to keep a cycle is always that, like, we'll figure out, don't worry about passing the class, or we'll figure out what we need to do to make sure that we're here and you can be successful when you come back. However, I strongly recommend that you keep routine.
Yeah. Like going to work.
Yeah, routine is super important. Okay.
Things are going to escalate, I feel like, now.
So we only have one option, to call our boss and tell them that we're sick. So we do that. In spite of the fact that you know that it's your job and you should go, you keep fighting yourself every step of the way. Every time you resolve to climb out of bed and just go, your body seems to get heavier and your head gets foggier and you find yourself unable to actually make yourself move. That is one of the most infuriating things for me, is that your body has physical reactions to depression and anxiety, where like the literal fogginess and the literal like shutdown of your body is like, I just get pissed off at evolution. Because I'm like, why did we evolve this way? Like, what possible benefit could this be that I feel like garbage?
The body and the mind are linked, right? So it's your body telling you to take care of yourself. Like, it's connected. If you take care of your mind, your body will follow. If you take care of your body, your mind will follow. Mm-hmm. So they say, what's the scientifically the best cure for depression is? Do you know, Ashley?
Is it exercise?
It's exercise. When I asked my undergrad classes that, they always said sex. And I said, well, kind of. That's a form of exercise. And also, interesting you feel comfortable mentioning that to me. But that's just another sign about how it's linked. Because if you go to the gym, you get all the neurotransmitters going, and your body is getting the benefit as well as your mind. So if you're feeling, like you said, it's a physical, like fog, it's a physical tiredness. It's not just made up. Your body is actually reacting.
Yeah. And I feel like exercises which deal with embodiment, like, I love dance is therapy. I use that hashtag all the time on Instagram, because dance requires mind and body to be in sync, and you have to be counting beats and measures and you have to be thinking about the way your body is moving, and you also have to be moving your body. So find the exercise that works for you. For me, it's dance, because I cannot possibly have an anxious thought or a depressive thought while I'm dancing, because my brain is like full. It's already doing so many other things. But yeah, I would just get really frustrated. Like, why are our brains so big? Why do we learn how to cook bone marrow and get fatty, huge brains and then just use it to feel like shit? Cool. Thanks, brain.
Yeah. Good job.
Solid one. Bro fist. Okay.
Yeah.
You grab your phone and dial your boss's number, hoping that it's early enough yet that he won't be there and you can just leave a message. Fortunately, after a couple of rings, voicemail picks up and you leave a message explaining that you're sick and won't be in today. As you hang up the phone, you worry that perhaps your message sounds like a lame excuse. You hope your boss won't call or email you a follow-up message, but for now, you're too foggy to do much of any sort of thinking, and you fall back into a sleep that is both heavy and restless, with the kitten curled up at your feet, occasionally repositioning as you toss and turn. So then we click next. When you wake up the next morning, short of feeling well rested, you actually feel more stressed out. While it was definitely nice to get a break from work, you're now faced with a new problem you hadn't considered before. You still have to go to work today. While you aren't having the same problems physically getting out of bed that you were having yesterday, the prospect of having to face your boss after missing a day of work does not seem appealing in the slightest. You worry that your absence won't be seen as believable or legitimate. Your coworkers and boss will think that you are just trying to half-assedly play hooky. Or worse, you fear that someone will actually ask you what's wrong. Being caught in that instance and having to either make up a half-baked excuse, or worse, that they'll see right through you and know, quickly has your mood matching the drizzly weather outside. You know you'll have to go to work, but your fear of being perceived as either lazy or defective is making you regret yesterday's decision to take the day off, and ultimately you feel worse for it.
Oh boy. You are severely depressed. Your motivation levels are non-existent. You alternate between feeling totally apathetic to panicking about things out of your control. You lack energy to do much more than sleep. Yet your constant feelings of worthlessness prevent you from getting any actual rest. You feel like dying, but ironically are too drained to actually act on these feelings. It's grim.
It's super grim, and I've always heard it said that when people are at their lowest, they don't actually commit suicide. It's when there's like a slight uptick, because when people have actually worked out that they want to commit suicide, that's when they'll immediately start feeling better temporarily, and that's kind of the red flag. Do you know anything about that?
I do not, but if you are feeling suicidal or know someone who is, definitely. What was the link from before? Suicide Prevention Lifeline? .org, is that right? No. I do not know about that, but that's sad.
Yeah. Oh no, severely depressed now. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, now we just have static as our picture.
Well, that's probably how we feel.
Yeah.
Apathetic. Nothing matters. Feelings of worthlessness.
All right.
Steven says, real talk, I felt that way in grad school, my master's. Yeah. Grad school. Oh,
grad school puts you through so much.
Some stress. Some stress for sure. For sure.
Not a great time.
No, it's a low point. There's lots of articles on that. The depression among grad school students for master's and PhD advanced degrees.
Yeah. So if, take it from a couple professors here that you are worthwhile, you're doing great work.
Yes.
Don't compare yourself to other people.
No.
You're amazing.
No one else has their stuff together. Yes. You're perfect just the way you are.
Oh, that's right. So Light brought up that our grad program has a wellness channel, which is a nice resource. So we have a wellness channel for both exercise and for physical and mental fitness, where people post all sorts of great links and they work out together. And
that's nice.
It's really cool. I think we're better and we take care of each other maybe a little bit more than what you and I had, Rachel, but I don't
Oh,
I
you
don't know
mean
the
more
other
than
side of it.
nothing? More than nothing? That's good. Because that's what I had.
Okay, you did just have nothing. You actually had. I think I remember you talking about this. Like we both had like people that were actively damaging to our
Oh,
mental health.
there was active. Okay, engaged family gaming. We need to do an episode about our damaging experience in grad school because honestly, I think people can relate to that. Steven can come back for that. Um, because there was definitely there's some stories. That would be an entertaining stream. All right,
Oh man, yeah. Okay, sorry. Moving
yeah,
on. It's so easy to get sidetracked. Okay.
yeah.
Um, that's got to be like we got to bump that one up. That has to be our next
That's
one. We have to talk about grad
that'll be
school.
our next one. And light,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I think that everyone should have that program for
Yeah.
sure. I'm not currently academically affiliated, or I would get on that. All right, go on.
It's 2 a.m. on a Sunday, and you have work in the morning. So I guess it's 2 a.m. on a Monday.
Did we not go to work? Okay, so we skipped on Friday, so now we're concerned about Monday.
Maybe.
Well, because he was worried, like, oh, now I have to go back into work. Did we go back into work, or that hasn't happened yet? It's the weekend. I don't know.
I don't know if this is a separate week or. Okay, you roll over and see the sickly green-yellow glow of time displayed in your LED alarm clock and let out an exasperated sigh. You've been trying to fall asleep for over 3 hours now to no avail. Every time your head hits the pillow, you're overcome with anxious thoughts that wrap themselves around each other. Worries about your job lead to worries about the future, which lead to worries about your very identity, and you're unable to shake them off long enough to doze off. Your eyes won't even stay shut as your mind races through imagined scenarios going horribly wrong, which you promptly attribute to your general worthlessness.
No, that's, like you said, catastrophizing, and this is like classic rumination. You're not alone.
Yeah, not
with that, for sure. Yeah.
Your thoughts run too fast for you to come to a satisfying conclusion on any one of them. Your room is completely silent, but the silence is given way to a loud static noise rattling around inside your head. Your heart beats loudly and you worry it's beating a little too fast. You worry that if you focus too strongly on your racing heart, you'll freak yourself out hard enough that you'll have a heart attack. You have to be awake for work in your 8 hours. Jesus. That's nice.
I know, 8 hours of sleep?
I know.
We're not going to sleep, though, I'm assuming.
It's still, like, if it's 2 a.m., you don't have to be awake for work until 10.
Till 10? Yeah. It's a perk. It's a perk of your boring job.
Your performance has been sagging lately, and this won't help the situation one bit.
Okay, so we did go back into work. Okay, it's a different work. What do you do? Oh, man. Okay. There are a lot of options in which we are not feeling up to taking. Put yourself to sleep. I can't see what the first word says. Force. Force yourself to sleep.
Yeah, it's hard.
Can't do that. You can't force yourself to sleep. I've tried. That doesn't work. Anyway.
You just yell at yourself, go to sleep, butthole.
Go! I don't think that happens. Okay, number 2, go to bed. It shouldn't be that hard. Number 3, close your eyes and let it happen. Why won't your thoughts back off for 5 seconds? Because you're ruminating, and that happens sometimes. So, 4, snap out of it. What's wrong with you? Why can't you stop stressing out for 5 seconds? Number 5, you're probably going into work tomorrow exhausted and fuck everything up and get fired. Okay, so these are all of these options seem to be very catastrophizing, and ruminating is the right word, but there's like another word where you just replay the same thought over and over. Maybe that's just the word I want. I don't know. Okay. Option 6, go to your computer. That's not going to help. Okay. But that's not going to help with sleep.
What if you take the blue light off?
Yeah, but you're also stimulating your mind. But it says we're not sleeping anyway, so might as well. Maybe we'll work on our project. What happened to our project? That might be a good thing to get back on.
Yeah, and that's also our only option. I also love the hashtags that have come out of the stream so far. Hashtag go to sleep butthole.
Juice gaming or whatever. That was a good one too. Juice drinking, whatever it was.
Okay, this looks like a screenshot of a chat room or something at the top.
Did we go to play World of Warcraft? Did they hear our request? Come on.
Amazing. Okay. You get out of bed and head to your desk. Laying in bed with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company makes you feel like you're going insane. Side note, this is why I sleep with TV on. which is like, I know, not great for sleep or whatever, but I fall asleep to a TV show just to have not quiet mind. Go to sleep, butthole. Then I just watch Jersey Shore and fall asleep to the soothing sounds of Sticky.
Of a New Jersey accent. Oh, that's so soothing.
Oh, yeah. GTL, yeah. I wish I were lying, but I'm not. Okay. The harshness of the light coming from
wait. Engage Family Gaming is leaving us. Good night. Thanks for coming. I hope you have your list. So,
yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep. See you next time.
It's been so nice to have you. I will subscribe to you as soon as or follow you as soon as I end this.
Yep. All right.
And you have day job and recording 2 podcasts. That's a lot.
Oh, you got a busy day. Good luck.
Yeah, good night. Okay. And you go to sleep, butthole. No more computer for you.
No, turn the computer off. Doctor, thank you.
Dr. Butthole. No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be abusive. That's how my brain talks to itself. Okay, can you tell everyone where to find me so I don't disappear? So I don't appear. Yes, you can.
No, yes, I will do all the links. Engage Family Gaming. Well, now I have to look it up on Twitter. Isn't it EFG Engage? It's at EFG Aiming. EF Gaming. They're great. Their podcasts are great. Follow them. Love them.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming to the stream. Your comments were super insightful and helpful.
Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime. And I will check out your podcast. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
So, the harshness of light coming from the screen makes you squint as you turn it on, despite how often you find yourself in this exact situation. There have been so many nights lately just like this. As you begin reading a news story, an online friend of yours IMs you. Oh. You're up late again, I see, says Attic. Can't sleep again. Attic says, thinking too much again? Oh, I like the typo. So I corrected the typo. You guessed it, frowny face emoji. Attic says, want to talk about it?
Okay, wait. So he's got an online friend with whom he at least has shared the idea that he has ruminating thoughts. So that's good. How come this is the first time we're talking to him? All right, come on.
You end up talking with Attic for quite some time about how you've been feeling. He's always been easy to talk to about personal matters, and the added security of talking online helps. Now there are therapists online, too.
Are there? I thought that was unethical. Okay.
You would know about... Okay, podcast number 34 that we need to do.
34. The ethical implications of online therapy.
Right. Well, this could be working for our main character, our PC. Being able to rethink what you say as you type it out loud and check it before you send it out helps you gather your thoughts, and you find it less intimidating in a way to type it all out in a prompt than to say it out loud.
Science supports that idea. Everyone finds it that way. Easier.
I love your footnotes. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Attic, sure. I don't want to be the guy who thinks they can diagnose something because I read a Wikipedia article, but it kind of sounds like you might have depression. You should talk to someone about that, like a doctor. You pause, not sure if it's how tired you feel or being frustrated from mentally eating away at yourself earlier in the night, but what he says rings true. Maybe you should see a doctor about this. Yeah, girl. Okay, Attic says, we can do some research and see if there's a good doctor near you. It's not like you're going back to sleep anytime soon anyway. You might as well do something while you're awake. Smiley face. So now we have 3 options.
I'm normally able to sleep and I don't have depression, but thank you. Well, that's just a lie. So that's not an option because that's lying. Number 2, no, that's okay. Number 3, it can't hurt to talk to someone, I guess. We have support for number 3 in the chat.
I feel like I want our player character to be successful.
We want Chuck Norris Ashley to thrive.
And to be fair, Chuck Norris Ashley did go to therapy. So it's not just fiction. All right. So Attic says, oh, okay, let's find you a doctor then, smiley face. Just remember, there's nothing wrong with having depression. You wouldn't be ashamed to have bronchitis or something. Super true.
Right.
So there's no reason to be ashamed if it's your brain that's sick instead. You go around with Attic, and after a bit of searching, you find a doctor that's gotten really good reviews. You recognize the number is the same one that Amanda emailed you a few weeks back, and you feel a bit ashamed for failing to do this sooner. You make note of it and tell Attic you plan on calling her in the morning before work. You end up going to bed after that with a slight sense of accomplishment. Your kitten pads over and curls up at your feet with the thought of maybe feeling better soon on your mind. You try not to get your hopes up as you drift off to sleep. A little bit better.
Silver Cicerus. I can't pronounce anything. Oh my god, why does my screen keep bouncing? Yes. Now we're having more options now. I'm not gonna be able to see chat anymore. I don't know what's wrong with my screen.
Okay.
Anyway.
I can keep an eye out on chat. Okay. Okay, so you groggily grab your morning coffee and scoot your rapidly growing kitten off your office chair, and despite her protests as usual, sit down at your desk to check your email. You notice the note you left yourself a few days ago with the therapist number on it. You've been somewhat putting off calling her purely out of nervousness, but you feel like you should probably make the decision to do it now or throw the note out and stop stressing yourself out about it. The kitten curls up in your lap as you consider what to do.
No!
That
Throw
glimmer,
the note out! Who are you kidding?
That glimmer of hope was there. Now it's gone.
Well.
The only option, number 3.
Well, yeah.
Just a real bummer. You start the note for a long time before crumpling it in your hand and throwing it out. Therapy is for people with real problems, not whiners like me, you tell yourself. Even if you did think you were worth the resources, you are.
No, you are. You are.
So worth the resources. You don't know if you could actually bring yourself to dial the number and say the words out loud. Somehow that would make you feel like you seem that much... Somehow that would make what you're feeling seem that much more real. If you don't call, some part of you feels like it makes it that much easier to pretend that it's all not happening.
I mean, I understand that logic, and, I understand that logic, but the help is there. All right. It is real. We've been living with it for a long time. Yeah. Our relationships are suffering. We haven't even heard from Alex in ages. That's probably not going great.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's for the best, you think. If you can just shove it all down and try to ignore it, you can struggle through the day and hopefully someday just get over it. Opening up is painful, and you're not sure dredging all the sewage out of your mind will even have a positive effect on you. The therapist would probably laugh at you anyway. Never.
No. That's not part of the training. No laughing. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Okay, sidebar. I know I'm terrible at these. But for a while there, the only way I would go to therapy is if I could try and... I was playing like a meta game with myself because I was so depressed. I thought therapy was pointless and useless and it wasn't going to make me feel better anyway. I didn't think the therapist would laugh at me, but I was just feeling like it was stupid. And it's not stupid, but I was feeling like it was stupid and a waste of time. So I made a meta game with myself where I would try and get my therapist to say a swear. Because she was this, like, really sweet, kind, middle-aged woman.
You're funny.
Who was from, like, an upper-class British family and had a very posh accent. So I would just try and get her to say a swear. Like, even if it was, like, a light swear, like bastard or something. And then that would kind of make my week. And that was enough motivation to keep me going to therapy until it was, like, actually helpful. And now I'm better.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever you gotta do is my point. The therapist will not laugh at you.
You've had a therapist laugh at you? Oh my gosh, that is the wrong therapist, number one.
Cyberpunk Ella, no.
No, I feel like a formal complaint should be filed. I'm sorry to hear that. That is terrible. That should absolutely never, ever, ever happen. Never. For any reason, ever. That's terrible.
I mean, unless you're telling a joke, I guess, but not during a therapy session. Okay, it's a chilly Thursday night.
Fine. Okay, Ashley, if you have to be so specific, if you're telling a joke, then yes.
Formal complaint was filed. Okay, I have a puppy foot. On me, so I'm glad you took action and filed.
A
complaint because that's
terrible.
professionalism,
All right.
Yeah. Like a puppy foot. Okay, it's a chilly Thursday night, and you've just gotten off work. This has felt like one of the longest days you've faced in recent memory, even though nothing exceptional had happened. A ton of minor things kept going wrong, and coworkers tried your patience throughout the day. You considered leaving work early, but you've already had enough absences lately on days you feel too crushed by the job to get out of bed and didn't want to risk it. You're lost in thought on the commute home, and your feelings of frustration with both your life and the world around you build as you run into minor annoyances like someone bumping into you really hard as they walk by. By the time you get home, you're exhausted, and in a moment of metacognition, realize that if you don't snap out of it, you're probably in for a long and trying night as well. These pent-up feelings aren't dying down and are eating at you. You open your front door and stare at your apartment. An overwhelming feeling of exhaustion overcomes you, and you feel like your energy levels are low enough that you'll likely settle into a single activity tonight. What do you do?
But see, I have to be honest, from like my perspective, it seems odd that the only choice remains don't burden someone with your problems, distract yourself if you are cognitively aware enough to know like you are like this person seems aware that they know that there's a problem and this problem is spiraling out of control and you feel frustrated with yourself like
or is that just us as
like I just want option 2.
Yeah,
I know. Well, with games like this when they're so you do impress yourself upon it, but yeah. Well, option 3 is the only choice, so there we are.
What you really want more
Don't
than anything
burden anyone with your problems.
Yeah. Bullshit. What you really want more than anything is turn your brain off and just disappear for a while. You sink resignedly into your couch and start playing video games. Woo, video games!
Hey! Okay, that took a turn. All right.
Yeah, yay. But you can't seem to focus on what's happening on screen. You cycle through a few different games, but tonight everything seems either too tedious or too aggravating for you to play more than a few minutes. Relatable. A few of your online friends invite you to play a game with them, but the prospect of having to talk, let alone cooperate with other people, seems incredibly unpleasant. You decide to give the video games a rest for the evening, though you worry that you've offended your online friends, and your next conversation will be awkward because of it, giving you yet another source of stress to weigh you down. You boot up Netflix and cycle through some of your favorite shows and movies that you flagged as wanting to come back to, but again, nothing seems to be able to hold your attention. You feel what can only be described as mentally fidgety, and there's an unscratchable itch where something on your brain that is becoming increasingly hard to ignore. You send off a quick text to Alex, hoping that conversation will help you pull you out of your head enough to relax, but you know she's in class tonight, and the chances of her replying are slim. You head to the kitchen for food, and you come out with not so much a sandwich, but just peanut butter and 2 pieces of bread. Yep. You pace anxiously around your apartment while you eat, irritated by whatever this nerve-wracking feeling is, and by your ability to just inability to just ignore it and unwind.
Yeah.
Your evening is filled with half-successful attempts at distraction, and you ultimately head to bed late, head filled with static. Okay, it's Wednesday evening, and you're visiting at your parents' house for a holiday. It's one of a handful
it's holidays now? That's not going to help.
Yeah, distract yourself by picking up the note. Light seconds that.
Yeah.
You should have called the therapist, right? Okay. Yeah, holidays. Woo! It's one of a handful of times during the year that you drive out to visit your old hometown, and you've seen random people you've gone to school with around town. Whenever bumping into them, the usual short versions of what you've done since graduating are exchanged. You've gone through a few of these today and have been very aware of how much you feel like you haven't accomplished. When you were in high school, you had much larger plans, and you feel like you failed to manifest most of them. Even if you managed to, you've largely lost interest in what you thought you wanted to do growing up. Now that you're not really sure what you want to do, you feel like you're lacking ambition or drive to figure it out. Everyone you've caught up with seems so much happier than you, like they've got their lives all figured out, and you've kind of been feeling like a failure by comparison. Your brother Malcolm arrives with his wife in tow shortly before you all sit down to dinner. He's been traveling for his job lately, and you haven't seen him since the day he picked you up from the dentist. Your parents haven't seen him since before then. During dinner, they all catch up, and Malcolm talks about the amazing things he's done on the road. Your mother turns to you and asks what you've been up to since you've seen them last. Oh, the same old, you say. Nothing really new going on. Your mother makes a face. Oh, nothing new? How long are you planning on staying at that job of yours? What do you say?
We are practicing our avoidance techniques, and we are excusing ourselves to the bathroom.
That's all we can do.
Yep, it's the only option.
Okay, as your mother looks across the table at you expectantly, everything inside you wants to run away. You've had this conversation with her enough to know that anything you say would either be a lie or result in a lecture. After spending the day feeling like you're a failure already, you can't really handle more of the same from your family regardless of how well they mean. Actually, I'll be right back. I have to use the bathroom. You excuse yourself from the table despite not actually having to use the facilities and head to the bathroom. You lock the door behind you and flip down the toilet lid, take a seat, and rest your head in your hands. You take a few deep breaths and your mind runs through its typical self-depreciating scripts, though you still feel as though it's a moment of relief. Relatable. Even though you love your family, you really feel like they don't know you at all sometimes, and this makes them exhausting to be around on nights like this. You wish you could tell them what you're feeling, but sometimes it feels like you're lost in the woods, and that if you were to drop dead in your apartment, the world wouldn't notice. You want to make her understand that more often than not, you feel like an alien. Like there isn't anywhere in the world that feels like a place where you belong, and you have no idea how to fix it or what to do. You wish you could find the words to say so they would understand you, but you end up feeling like an outsider instead. Instead, you decide to remove yourself from the situation and calm down. You couldn't see a resolution where attempting these things would work, and you need a moment of space instead. You hear a knock on the door. Malcolm's voice comes through the door. Oh, Malcolm. Hey, kiddo. You all right in there? You've been in there for a while. Got diarrhea, Malcolm.
I know.
That's like seriously what I would say. I would be so annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just feeling a little sick from Mom's cooking. Well, if there's anything I can do or get you, let me know. They're about to serve pie, though, if you're feeling up to it. I can't not read Malcolm's voice in, like, a non-cranky tone. Yeah, I'll be out in a minute. Malcolm is quiet for a moment. Hey, just so you know, I'm really proud of you.
Aw.
Like, I would take that as sarcasm after the whole kiddo thing. I would literally be giving him the finger.
I don't think he means it sarcastically. I think he feels bad. He realizes his parents are being rude and giving Malcolm all the attention.
Yeah. You hear his big footsteps walk away from the door, and you splash some water on your face before leaving to rejoin your family.
I think we should assume it's not sarcastic. I don't know. When I had my son, because I have 2 kids, the doctor told me that my siblings would love each other more than they love me. They're like, it's just a fact. They love each other more than they love you. So, well, thanks, number one. But so that's what I'm saying. So Malcolm is probably, I know, proud of his brother because they love each other more.
It's pretty messed up.
I think it's true, though.
Steve said, my father very rarely mentioned he was proud of me. When he did, it was like the Medal of Honor. Yeah.
It was like what?
The Medal of Honor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, it's a rainy night. You're hurrying through the rain to Alex's apartment at her behest. Though your pace is quick. Oh, this is going to be worse, I think. I don't have a good feeling about this.
Oh.
Though your pace is quick, the rain is steadily soaking up your pant legs as you traverse the town, and it's darkening your already poor mood. Call came
your pants are wet.
Yeah, like no one's going to be happy, right? The call came where you are at home after a day of dealing with abnormally frustrating people. You spent the afternoon trying to unwind and get some work on your project done. Alex called and interrupted one of your trying to make progress, get frustrated not making progress, have a harder time making progress due to frustration, repeat loops, and you haven't fully shaken off the feelings of being annoyed at yourself from it yet. You knock on her door, and on the third knock, you hear her voice call further in the apartment to come on in. As you cross cross the threshold, dripping rainwater all the way, you notice that the lights are turned down very low in the apartment. You squint to navigate as you clutch onto your damp umbrella, but end up hitting your shin on the side table, mumbling a profanity under your breath. You barely make out Alex emerging from the hallway, clad in what looks to be a robe, with the bare skin of her legs peering out underneath. Why don't you
It's
come
turning
in
good.
Why don't you come in and warm up? She asks in her designated, slightly cheesy, sexy voice. After a beat of silence, she states more naturally, my roommates are out of town this weekend, so I thought it might be nice to have a little fun while they're away. You appreciate her affection, but you're too wrapped up in your own negative feedback loops to be in the mood right now. Alex puts up with a lot of shit, I gotta say. Good for Alex.
Alex is a good girlfriend.
She really is.
We coupled up with Alex. Alex is very patient.
You marry her. That's what you do.
Well, apparently you tell her you're not in the mood. I just told you exercise. Sex is exercise.
Yeah, that is your students' go-to, right?
Yeah. They weren't wrong.
Yeah. Alex is best girl. Yep. Okay. You start unsure of how to phrase how you're feeling in a way that doesn't hurt her. Even at those 2 words, her face is falling. Right. This is sudden, she says, clutching the top of her robe closed. No, it's not you. She cuts you off. It's not you, it's me, right? It's okay, I get it. She moves to her bookshelf and blows out some of the candles you failed to notice. It was cheesy anyway.
Oh, Alex.
I'm so sad for Alex.
I know.
The hurt in her voice cuts you down to your core. You can tell she feels rejected by you, and everything feels like it's happening so quickly and slipping through your fingers. You wish you were telepathic and can let her know exactly how you feel about her so that she wouldn't be wounded by your own mood. This was all really nice. I just have had a hard day, and you stammer, but she leaves the room and you hear the bedroom door close. Unsure what else to do, you sit down on the couch to wait for her to return. You feel terrible for hurting her, when she clearly meant nothing but good. Although you don't want to have sex with her right at this moment, you're beating yourself up for handling it so poorly. Why couldn't you find the right words to let her down gently without her thinking that she had done something wrong? Why do you have to be such a shitty partner? She emerges from the room now dressed. Her eyes are red, but you can tell she's trying not to show that she was crying. I actually have to do a lot of coursework, so maybe you should head home. This was kind of a dumb idea anyway. Sorry. Okay, you mutter, not wanting to make things worse. A couple seconds of silence pass, as neither of you are sure of what to say from there. You leave with a quick goodbye and curse yourself the entire way home.
All right. That didn't end well. You were right, Ashley. Bad feeling about that.
I mean, this game kind of gut punches you, though, right? Because it's like, woohoo! Aww.
Well, I mean, I think that's realistic portrayal, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
No.
All right. It's an early winter evening. And
oh, man, how many seasons have passed? Okay.
Well, now we're in the real depressing one. January blues right here.
Yeah.
Even though it's not particularly late, the time of year has let the sky almost prematurely darken and cast. Day after day, just like today, you trudge home from a job you've increasingly come to hate. On this day, your job misery seems to have reached critical mass, and not even shedding your rain-laden, uncomfortable work clothes helps you unwind from your workday. You collapse onto your couch, blank and numb, while your job always seemed to be an unpleasant reality of existence. It was a position you sort of fell into unexpectedly, never intending to work there long term, and it's getting harder and harder to keep it up. While it's certainly not your dream job, you always sort of stuck it out. You always sort of stuck it out of necessity before, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that. Though you couldn't even begin to imagine what else you could do, you find yourself face to face with the question you just can't ignore. Is it your complacency worth the price of this level of misery? What do you do?
Turn on the TV and let your mind go blank. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's actually, I was going to say maybe is better than crawling into bed and doing nothing. I'm not sure if it is, though.
Yeah, this is pretty sad.
Yeah.
You grab the TV remote, wanting nothing more than to forget all about the terrible day you had at work. You flip on the TV and let yourself get swallowed up by the couch. You grab your laptop to surf the internet while you watch TV, paying no real attention to either. Very relatable. I do that even when I'm healthy, though. You watch a few reruns of shows you're at best indifferent toward, and a movie on TV that's a few years old, all while scrolling idly through your Twitter feed. Okay, you know what? HGTV exists because those are just full of shows that you're indifferent toward. That's a whole network. I'm sorry. Okay. At the end of the night, you really don't feel any better so much as you just feel numb, which is basically what you were going for anyways. Ultimately, it gets late enough that you tell yourself you should probably call it a night. You beat yourself up over the fact you didn't accomplish anything that evening, but at least you managed to forget about your job for a couple hours. As you fall asleep, you're acutely aware of the fact that after a few more hours sleep, you've got to do it all again. So now we have a little image of how the fuck am I going to do this?
I imagine that it's exactly how we would feel.
Yeah. It's a little past 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You're at your computer, frustration levels peaked, rubbing your eyes and sighing heavily. You're working on a project from your job that has stretched you to wit's end, trying to meet a looming deadline. And as it lurks closer, you are seriously doubting your ability to get it done. Mm-hmm. You've been dragging your feet a little at work due to your complete lack of energy lately. In spite of wanting to do a good job, you find yourself unable to push past it and feel horribly useless. You slide your hands off your face to look at your screen as it beeps at you. Attic. Hey, are you there? I really need to talk to you about something. You feel like you're getting nowhere with your current tasks and could probably use a break. However, you know that you have a history of being distracted and then losing motivation to pick that back up again. So what do?
Try to regain your focus and don't answer or answer Attic. I mean, I feel like you'd want a distraction. It says gets distracted. He doesn't have any motivation anyway. Might as well answer him.
I'd always go for
answer.
Mm-hmm. Chuck Norris Ashley definitely would have done that.
Would have done.
Okay. You're feeling like you've hit a brick wall with your tasks, so why not take a break? Yeah, just like you said.
There you go.
Help out a friend. You, hey, what's up? Attic, oh good, you're there. I just found out I got cheated on and I don't know what to do. Oh no, that's horrible. The two of you talk for a long time, and you lend a shoulder to your friend. You give him space to rant, cry, and most importantly, to be able to voice his inner turmoil. You give him your full attention and talk him through what his options are for what he does next. You keep him from doing something rash, and the two of you decide it's best for him to sleep on it before doing anything. Exhausted, he departs for bed and thanks you for being there to talk to him. As you close the I am window, you feel horribly sorry for your friend, but happy that you were able to help. See? You're not a burden. People like helping each other. Mm-hmm. It serves as a tangible reminder to you that you're capable of being useful to someone instead of solely being a mess that needs everyone else's help. You boot up your work project and find that you're suddenly able to get some solid progress done.
Very good. See, no one is all good or all bad. It's like, yeah, never all bad.
It's another sleepless Thursday night. You're at Alex's apartment.
Oh, she invited us back.
I'm surprised that she puts up with so much crap. I feel like...
I mean, I think you're right. We should marry her.
Well, actually, at this point, I'm thinking Alex needs to move on. I think Alex is being abused in this situation.
Wow.
Like, it's hard to be a partner of someone with severe depression.
That's true.
I don't know if this is good for Alex.
She's holding strong.
You're at Alex's apartment, wide awake in bed as she's sleeping peacefully beside you. She fell asleep hours ago, and you've been laying here unable to shut your brain up long enough to fall asleep. You've added the feelings of insecurity about your relationship to the rest of the noise in your head, keeping you up tonight. It was kind of a tense night between the two of you. You arrived after a stressful day at work and made dinner tonight. You barely said a word. You were stuck in your own head and had a hard time being present with her as your thoughts turned to all the ways you feel like you're deficient at being a good person and beating yourself up mentally for each one. She told you she could tell you were in one of your moods, and she said that she wouldn't push you, but she missed talking to you as the two of you sat up on the couch together. You wanted to tell her how much you love her, but you couldn't make the words come out right and ended up sounding defensive instead. As you lay there next to her now, you trace your fingers across her arm lightly, just lightly enough to not wake her. You still haven't explained your depression to her, and it's starting to feel more and more like a secret you're keeping instead of something she simply doesn't know about you yet. It's becoming more and more apparent that it's impacting your relationship with her, and you feel guilty about this. However, you're also terrified that if she knew exactly how fucked up you are, she would leave you. You already worry that she's only with you because she doesn't realize how terrible of a person you are yet. And you're afraid that this would be the final thing to expose you. She stirs in her sleep and squints at you as she opens her eyes. With confusion that comes with waking up, she asks you if you're awake and then if everything's okay.
The chat. I can see the chat. Okay, so open up to her with ease. Obviously not an option. We don't open up with ease. Either tell her about the situation or tell her it's nothing and she should go back to sleep. I mean, the chat wants to. And honestly, I feel like at this point, if we're going to have any chance of like keeping Alex, it's got to be number 2. You got to open up. You got to open up to your...
The 2s have it.
Yeah.
Poor Alex. I feel like this game needs a sequel where it's about like Alex's perspective and how hard it is to have a partner with depression.
Ooh, we should tweet Zoe. She's on Twitter. That'd be good.
You feel like a jerk for accidentally waking her up, but you're afraid if you put this off any longer that you won't find the strength to tell her everything later. No, actually everything isn't okay. Can I tell you something? Something important? Oh God, what? Like timing, people.
Not while she's sleeping, I mean.
Like what? If you woke me up and said that, I'd be like, who did you kill? Like, are you wanted by the feds? Like, why? And then they'd be like, oh, no, I'm feeling a little sad. And, like, I think I'm probably depressed. I'd be like, oh, thank God. Like, that'd be a relief, right? I mean, I guess that's a strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, so she sits up, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. For the rest of the night, you lay side by side, holding hands as you tell her everything.
Oh.
I know, it's pretty sweet. You tell her how it's more than just feeling sad sometimes, and how you feel trapped by your own mind, and how sometimes you feel nothing at all, and you can't shake it off. She listens the entire time, occasionally asking questions about how this or that works, or asking you to explain something further. She squeezes your hand and tells you she understands, and that she's sad you didn't tell her sooner. Right? Alex is the best. Okay. After laying silent for a moment, the weight of what you did hits you. You desperately want her to say something, to tell you how she's feeling about all of this, but you're too afraid what the answer would be to ask. You start convincing yourself that she now knows everything, she's going to leave. There's no way someone could deal with how you really are. So, how can I help? What do you need me to do? She asks.
Aww.
Alex is best.
Yeah.
You think for a second, and then the answer you come up with fills you with despair. I honestly don't know. I wish I knew how to fix this, but I don't know that you can do anything. I think it's something I just have to live with. She looks at you with sad eyes before kissing you on the forehead. Then I'll live with you. I'll live with it with you.
You know, love and support. You see, you can talk to your loved ones.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could possibly love me. She rolls over and wraps her arms around your neck, setting her head on top of yours. You don't need to, just know that I do. So cute.
That's really sweet.
But for how long, though? Like, I feel like Alex is putting up with a lot of crap.
Pick up that piece of paper.
You rock, Alex. Depression level decreased. Oh, it did? Oh, crap. I scrolled by too fast.
Seriously?
So, yeah, Silvara says depression level decreased. Oh my god, Alex. Oh my god, you're less depressed. Says your friend. Steve was his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm bad with names. Okay. Steve, once I meet you, I'll remember you. It's hard with screening. It's a Friday night and you're laying across your bed feeling pathetic. Strong start! Strong start!
but we're less depressed.
Damn it!
We're only pathetic. We're not apathetic anymore.
Jeez, I can't wait to see what our depression level's like now. As you're leaving work tonight, a group of coworkers asked if you wanted to join them for drinks. Feeling antisocial and put on the spot, you declined. You have a habit of doing this. You're often so convinced that you're weird and terrible that any invitation to hang out will end up in disappointment for those inviting you. You never feel like you know how to act in group outings, and you feel like a total creep since it seems to come so naturally to anyone who's not you. You find yourself petrified of breaking some unknown social rule, and so you never go out. Now, however, you find yourself home alone. Your brain has begun telling you how pathetic and sad you are for being unable to just be a normal person and go out with nice people. can't figure out why you can't just go out and meet people and enjoy yourself. At the same time, you also feel like no one would possibly want to hang out if they knew you because you're dull and weird anyway. Dull and weird people are the best people. Side note.
True.
You try your typical strategy and boot up Netflix to distract yourself from these feelings, but frustration with yourself builds and you realize that you have to do something else with your night. Anything else take your mind off of how awful and lonely you feel right now. So what do you do?
Drink. I feel like Chuck Norris Ashley, maybe. Go out somewhere alone. Oh no. You would definitely do number 6. Play with your cat. It's got to be play with your cat.
Although...
Oh, we're profoundly depressed, barely functional. On days you can't even get... Well, that's definitely better than it was.
The first 3 options are clearly the best options.
Well, if we had all the options, I would probably pick number 2 because Attic helps you feel... Or number 3 more. Since now you've talked to Alex. Alex will be there to support you.
Should be 3, but 6 might be the best.
Yeah, the cat...
I think of the Smiths song.
Go out somewhere alone?
Yeah. And you go home and you cry and you want to die. That's Smith's song.
I don't think we should do that option.
No Smith song options for depression quest.
No.
Okay.
I didn't ask for Smith song, Ashley.
So, Chuck Norris Ashley would drink.
Would drink.
Yeah, are we still going with that? Like,
yeah, we're doing. Yeah.
Are we going to be consistent with our narrative, or do we want to play with the cat and actually feel better?
What is it? Who's watching? There's 10 people watching. Any opinions? We have 1 vote for number 6. What do you guys think? Drink or play with the cats? I mean, I kind of want to play with the cats. Oh, Steven wants to just make the character better. We're invested now. Okay, we're playing with the cat.
Okay. All right, everyone's invested in this character.
It's been a lull. We're trying to work it back up.
Kitty. We're rewarded with a picture of a cat. That's nice.
Well, already we're off to a good start.
Nights like this, you're very glad you made the call to become a cat owner. Oh.
There you go.
Feeling too socially burnt out to interact with other people, you go find your cat. You get her to chase a laser pointer for a solid 30 minutes before she tires herself out. She pads over to you and collapses in a heap in your lap, purring loudly. Though she initially hated being picked up, you carry her to the computer desk with you, and she doesn't object. Setting her down in your lap, you comfortably surf the internet for a while before heading to bed. Having her here with you has a calming effect. It makes you feel a lot less alone.
Aww.
All right, it's a cold Saturday afternoon. You just arrived at Alex's apartment, and you're happy to finally see her after a week of absence due to your schedule's not lining up. You hug her in the doorway, but she breaks loose sooner than normal and sits down on the couch as you take off your sneakers and lay them in a neutral place right next to hers. I don't like this.
She's not feeling good about this.
Here comes Isabel. Isabel consents. I'm stressed by this. Don't eat my mic, Isabel. And Digby. Okay. There was something I was hoping we could talk about, actually, she says. You feel anxious hearing those words and move to take a seat on the couch. Your heart starts to race. This is one of those we need to talk situations. Has she finally had enough of your baggage? Did the week apart make her realize how much better things are without you? She sits down across from me on the couch, and you can tell by the look on her face that she isn't looking forward to saying what she's about to. You feel your grip tighten on the couch cushion. So she starts. She breaks eye contact and takes a deep breath, which spikes your anxiety. Things with us have felt kind of weird lately. It's like you've been really distant, and I'm not sure how to take it. I guess I want to make sure you still want to do us. I mean, she notices you gripping the couch. I mean, I know you have difficulties with your situation. I mean, She looks at your face seemingly searchingly. I don't know how much this has to do with it, or if it has to do with me, or... I just want to know where we stand. She looks at you with uncertainty, and you can practically see the knot of pain in her chest. You try and rein in your knee-jerk reaction to run, unsure of what to say. Your mind races. You know you have to choose your next words carefully, though the self-deprecation rages in your mind. You try to think through it. You try to sort out what you really want to do here. As a myriad of feelings is boiling inside of you, which one do you listen to?
Okay. And things for good, you're clearly not making her happy. Don't like that option.
Mm-mm.
You still want this. Say whatever you can to make her stay regardless of your concerns. Or yes, there's been distance. Attempt to solve it by asking her to move in. I'm going to go with I don't like any of those.
I know, right? Chat, you're going to have to help us out because all these seem like garbage options.
Yeah, these are all bad. Sorry.
Can you imagine? Okay, so I don't want to end things with her.
No, it's got to be 5 or 6, but it's like, why would you say like anything, just regardless, just like anything? Although moving in, I don't know, maybe it'd be less lonely if she moved in.
I feel like both of those options are like sociopath options, though. Like they're very manipulative, you know.
Well, 5 more so than 6, I think. He might actually want her to move in.
All right, we have a vote for 6. 2 votes for 6.
2 votes for 6. All right, 6 it is.
Okay, but I can't see because Isabel's head's in the way. Oh, don't lick me. Your breath smells like poop. Okay. Stop, Isabel. She's pawing at me. Why is your breath so horrible? It's almost like you're a dog. Oh, she licked me in the face. Oh, so gross. Do you just want to listen to Depression Quest too? Okay, you can. You're allowed. You look at Alex's face and you feel your heart break. Ugh. No more licking. You never meant to hurt her and you were torn up that you caused her pain. You can't help but feel like you let her down and you want to fix it. You desperately want this relationship to continue to be stronger. It's one of the few good things in your life and you feel like you owe her so much for helping you as much as she has. You're not sure how to solve things other than to literally remove the distance. Let's move in together, you tell her matter-of-factly. It'll bring us back together. We can fall asleep together every night, reconnect with each other. You're really worried that if Alex were to live with you, she wouldn't be able to deal with your days of being unable to get out of bed or the nights where you can do nothing but stare at the wall and panic. However, you're too afraid of losing her to deal with that right now. You want to show her that you're serious about the two of you. Maybe I can use this as a reason to finally get my act together, you think to yourself. Maybe having her around will keep me from being depressed so often. I'm not sure what to say. This is all so sudden. She thinks really hard for a minute. Sure, we could try it, but we'll have to figure out logistics, and I have to... You interrupt her with a tight hug, which seems initially tense but loosens up. You both... Digby's eating my hair. Yeah, you both recommit to making things work between the two of you, and get excited while talking about what could be soon. You're tremendously relieved, and you can't wait to live together. Oh no!
I
just saw that.
No, don't say oh no.
We got more depressed.
Something bad's gonna happen.
Oh no! The first few weeks were amazing, but you quickly find that your choice was not a wise one. Trying to hide your struggles with your condition from your partner becomes more and more impossible.
But we weren't hiding it.
I know.
I
know. And you find that you lack many resources to properly deal with situations that rise as a result. Due to the lack of communication, she starts telling you it's her fault and a wedge is driven between the two of you. This fact is fuel for your illness and becomes another aspect of your life that you berate yourself for. Despite sleeping in the same bed, she feels further away than ever before. It becomes clear that this didn't fix any of the relationship's problems, and it deteriorates far enough that she moves back out soon after moving in. The reality hits you hard over the next few days, and you spiral into a very deep low. You withdraw entirely and outside of work. Your only interaction with with other living creatures, your cat. You hardly leave your apartment, despite it practically haunting you with memories of the last few weeks of your time with her. You can't stop replaying the failures you made with her over and over in your head, wondering what could have been if you weren't such a fuck-up. It's going to be a long time to get over her. Oh no. It's December and you've returned to your parents' house.
Back to Christmas. Now I got no girlfriend. It's going to be fun.
Out the living room window, you can see a gentle flurry of snow drifting down beneath the pristine blanket of white from yesterday's unexpected Christmas Eve snowfall, and you quietly laugh to yourself at how incredibly cliche it seems. Hey, Digby. Good grief. Still, as you sit down at dinner, you can't help but notice how being surrounded by family and the overly kitschy atmosphere of your mom's decorations have actually made you feel relaxed and a little more comfortable. Your mom is running around frantically checking the oven and stockings and just generally trying to family time it up, while your dad sits at the head of the table drinking a beer and laughing with your brother Malcolm. His wife Karen is there too, whom you've always gotten along with, and your parents even agreed to let you bring your kitten along. She's been darting in and out of people's legs and hopping onto laps all night. That's really cute. As you thoughtfully munch away at your turkey, listening to conversations around you, your thoughts drift back over the last few months. You think about how hard things had gotten, playing over in your head some of the worst, as well as some of your best memories. It seems like all these things came to a head over the past few months, with a sudden flurry of relationship turmoil, professional anxiety, social stress, and above all, an omnipresent sense of weight that it seems you've just recently become aware of. Drawn out of your reverie by your dad's familiar booming laugh as some cheesy comment Malcolm made seems to have hit its mark. Sitting at the table, you're suddenly immensely glad for your chance to be able to ignore everything for an evening and not have to struggle trying to explain yourself. Fortunately, everyone seems to be content with laughing at each other's jokes and discussing favorite sports teams, and for a while you think you'll be able to get through dinner without any embarrassing personal intrusions, but no sooner did that thought cross your mind than the table conversations trickles off, leaving a slightly awkward silence to descend upon the dinner. So how are you doing these days? Your mom asked pointedly.
Why is it always the mom? You know?
Freud. Because Freud. You take a moment to collect your thoughts, then looking up, you take a deep breath. Well, spill your guts.
Not great, Mom.
Do it at Christmas.
Yeah.
First time I'm like, thank goodness for no more choices.
That's hilarious.
Right? There's no doubt that depression is a battle, and it seems to have taken a particular toll on you. As days go by, okay, so we skipped over that, I guess. You find yourself less and less interested. Oh, sorry, you find yourself interested in less and less. You think back to your life a few months ago compared to where you are now, it seems like you've just lost so much. Work has become unbearable as the thought of you dragging yourself day in and day out to a job you just can't stand, so you scrape enough money together to do it all again the next day, has ground your will down. Lately, your job performance has suffered tremendously, and your boss already had a conversation with you about your absences. At this point, losing your job is not only a real possibility, it's downright probable. Your personal relationships have deteriorated as well. While you can never describe yourself as a social butterfly, your constant flakiness and continuing withdrawal from your circle of friends has all but alienated them from you completely. Nowadays, you rarely see or speak to them, and when you do, the conversations are strained or perfunctory. You almost never leave your apartment anymore. Your detachment from the world even ended up costing you your relationship with Alex. While she made every effort to be supportive and understanding, your refusal to try and manage your situation forced her to have to choose between having to constantly look after you and pursuing her own goals.
That's what you were saying.
If Alex has stayed, that's a super abusive situation. Hashtag been there, done that. Okay. She continued to excel in her program at school, as she made it very clear on more than one occasion that she was dedicated fully to her education career, and couldn't afford to be held back by somebody who insisted on being stagnant. The subsequent split was practically inevitable. You can never wrap your head around the whole notion of therapy and view it as anything other than evasive. Refusing to admit your need for help, your decision to try and tackle your depression on your own now seems woefully miscalculated. Your friends may have been willing to listen to you at first, but over time your reluctance to accept any of their advice simply drove them away, leaving you with little in the way of support network. With nobody to vent to and an inability or an unwillingness to seek help on your own, you quickly lost the desire to attempt to overcome your depression, and your downward spiral seemed to compound geometrically. Pouring out over the events of the past few months is, even now, exhausting and defeating. Looking at the person you were mere months ago is almost surreal. It feels like a completely different person living a completely different life. In fact, it's hard for you to imagine ever having had a life that wasn't completely devoid of feeling or drive. The prospect of trying to imagine what your future holds seems not only impossible, but irrelevant and of little interest to you. As your life has become just a series of trudges from one emotionally exhausting moment to the next. You look at the table across from your mother, weakly meeting her gaze before dropping your eyes to the floor. You open your mouth to answer, but no words come out. You don't even bother pretending to try and think of what to say. Okay, so you're still at Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
So we only have one option there, and it's the epilogue. And I'll read the epilogue, and then we can chat a little bit about the game before we end the stream. But we've completed it now. So the game designers write, "We really want to thank you for taking the time to play Depression Quest. We realize it may not be the most enjoyable game you've ever played." It's a modest understatement. Yeah. Or even the easiest, but we sincerely appreciate your involvement. If you would like to contribute to the developers and to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, you can click there to do so. Like depression itself, Depression Quest does not have an end, really. There's no neat resolution to depression, and then it was important to us that Depression Quest's own resolution reflect that. Instead of a tidy ending, we want to just provide a series of outlooks to take moving forward. After all, that's all we can really do with depression, just keep moving forward. And at the end of the day, it's our outlook and support from people just like you. Mm-hmm. That makes a difference in the world. Thanks again. So there's one more credits. I'll pull up the credits while we...
Yeah, I see in the chat what Light said. It wasn't enjoyable, but it wasn't, but it was. I mean, it was relatable. I think it was written very well.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any music, though. Was there any music on your end? I see there's credits for the music.
Great time, although I'm a bit of a mess and need of a lie down. Yeah. I'm glad that you've all had a good time despite the topic.
The content.
And the content. Yeah. I think it's a really... I don't know that I would play this game alone, actually. I feel like this is where the sociality of Twitch kind of maybe doesn't give the designed experience to the player. Because if I were playing this alone with the music, which, by the way, I still don't hear, so whatever, I would have a very different experience. I'd probably be bawling my eyes out right now.
Yeah.
But because I'm here with you, Rachel, and because I'm here with Twitch,
mitigated.
It feels less lonely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, we were kind of able to, laugh at some parts. Right. Not at the story and what was happening, and certainly not at depression, but as a type of coping strategy, and that that coping strategy is a lot harder to do when you're playing solo.
Alone, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that just speaks to the power of the writing, though, because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Reading it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So what did we learn from this?
It's better than drinking alone. That's right. That's what we learned from this. Yeah, Stephen. It's like battling. It's like someone battling with constant cognitive dissonance. Each glimmer of hope and cognizance is just ripped out right in front of you. It's like you don't think logically. When you have depression, your neurochemicals are imbalanced. Like not thinking logically is a side effect of that. So I think that's why it's so hard for people who live with depression, and why it makes it so uncomfortable to read it, because it's like, obviously pick up the piece of paper, but that's not what you're thinking.
So do we think the game was successful in giving us a glimpse into what depression, Isabel, please, is like?
I mean, I think it definitely can resonate with not every possible manifestation of depression, but I think it was pretty relatable. And I think from the comments in the chat that many other people seem to relate. What do you think?
I found it super relatable, yeah. So I think in that regard, it was successful. I'll pull this up instead.
Well, and Light says the roughest part was seeing the moments where it's like, yes, the resurgence of the therapist, and then, the note gets crumpled up, or you just don't call the therapist. But that's the most realistic part, right?
Yeah, and I think for me personally, those parts were less triggering because of my own experience. Like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I did that and it felt really bad. But I've been on the other side. I've been that friend that was trying to get someone to go to therapy who didn't, and ultimately
Right.
didn't have a good ending. And so for me, it's less about myself and more about
Mm.
like trying to talk someone to therapy who wouldn't go.
Right. Right. Interesting.
Something that was interesting, Silvara says, was how during the game, every time I think someone reached out to help our character, the depression level decreased, but then it more or less blew up and got worse immediately after.
Maybe that plays the idea of like kind of what you were just saying. You reached out and it didn't work. You have to be ready for the help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody like trying to reach out and be like, here's a therapist number, or even Alex, right? She sat and she talked to him and she had a beautiful response. It was beautiful. I'm here for you. I'll love you anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not open to it, if you're not in the position to accept that, then the impact isn't going to resonate.
So the number for the suicide prevention lifeline, by the way, is 1-800-273-8255. And I have the website up right now just in case anyone is feeling not okay because of the stream. Hopefully not. I hope you're all being safe. But that website is there and the number is there on the screen. There's always help. There's always people to talk to. The one cool thing about the game is that every time that a friend was talked to, the friend said, like, this is not a burden. And then the reverse, I like that they showed that the reverse was true. When Attic wanted to talk, you were like, oh, I didn't feel burdened at all. Like, I'm really glad I got to help Attic out with Big Cheating on.
Big picture question, Ashley. How do you help someone that doesn't want to seek help?
Ooh, that's a good question for you.
You provide, I would provide them with resources. I would continually reach out and check in with them. I mean, there are obviously extreme situations in which extreme measures can be taken. If you think that someone is a danger to themselves or a danger to others, I think you need to reach out. You need to escalate the level of help in which you are attempting to provide them.
So this website says that there are 5 action steps if you think someone's in crisis. So the first one is to ask, and this is particularly about suicide, but if if you think that there's something wrong, you can always ask. Mm-hmm. Finding, suggest, acknowledging, and talking about suicide may reduce suicidal ideation. In the game we saw that people, when they reached out to talk about depression, made the narrator crawl back into that hole. But I think consistently supporting and being there is super important. So individuals are more likely to feel less depressed, less suicidal, less overwhelmed, and more hopeful after speaking to someone who listens to them without judgment.
Yeah, no laughing.
For sure. Yeah. And then there's helping them connect to different networks. Following up,
that's important. Because there wasn't that much follow-up in this story.
Yeah.
I feel like with Amanda. Oh, sorry, it took me like several weeks after we had like this big long conversation in the car. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also Attic didn't really follow up either. Like, they both suggested the same therapist and no one followed up and checked in on.
This is good advice here.
Yep. And then there's a B there too. So I just want to really quickly read out, if you prefer text, Sever Pagella said that there's crisistextline.org. So it's www.crisistextline.org, which provides a similar service.
We did talk about the benefits of text, so That's awesome that that's a thing. Sometimes talking might seem overwhelming.
Yeah, memories are painful too, and it's something that I think most of us, I would presume in this chat, are survivors of suicide, that we've had someone close to us not make it through, right? The depression quest. And I think that's maybe what's hardest for me about playing depression quest isn't dealing with my own depression, because like I've, not completely, it's not in the dust, it's not in the past, but I feel like I'm in a pretty good place with it. Whereas for those who didn't make it, it's a little bit harder because it kind of puts you in their shoes a little bit. So I think it brought up a lot of memories on that end of things. But this is a serious game. This is maybe a feel bad game.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think is most fascinating for me is that we kind of accept that games can make us feel happy and excited and sometimes anxious in that good way, like where it's like, oh, my palms are sweaty because like this boss fight is just like really intense, and it's that kind of fun anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to see the other side of the coin, that games also have the power to make us feel sad. But not, I don't feel sad in a bad way. I don't feel sad in a depressed way. I feel that like, I don't know.
Do you know what it is? It's
What?
the feeling you have after you watch Black Mirror.
I've never watched Black Mirror.
Oh my gosh, it's the same feeling where it's like you like finish and you're like,
See, it's so hard to put in words. Do we have a word in English for it?
There's probably a German word for it. I'm gonna have to call my German friends. You need to watch Black Mirror. First of all, you need to watch Black Mirror because it's the same feeling. Because it's like you feel like that. Yeah.
Do I watch?
Not good, not bad, not great.
Do I watch Bandersnatch first, or do I need to build up to that? Okay.
You need to start from the beginning. Season 1, episode 1. Work your way through. You have to. You absolutely have to. We can do it on Twitch. We can figure out how to stream it. We can watch it together.
I guess it's also kind of like watching The Notebook, or a movie that is going to be sad, but it's that like beautiful sadness of like,
Yeah. Steven says, agreed, and it's the prospect of pain for me, at least. It lets me know what I can overcome, and I think appreciate the good times that much more.
Oh, for sure. For
sure.
Hashtag
hurts so good. Yeah, Steven, the Black Mirror, there's some episodes like Shut Up and Dance. You need to watch it. You're not going to get this reference. But at the end of Shut Up and Dance, I was like, oh, I can't watch this show anymore.
So I have to start at the beginning? Or?
You have to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
1,000%. You have to start at the beginning. They're all independent. Here's my plug for Black Mirror. Best show like ever made. They're all independent stories with completely different, I guess they all take place in the same universe, but like completely different stories, completely different actors, whatever. But like season by season, it's progressed, I feel like. So you really have to start from the beginning. And season 1, episode 1 is so traumatizing for some people, they never go to episode 2. So I feel like you should start with 1.
Dang.
It's pretty out there. But if you can get past 1 is like the height of as bad as it gets, almost. Jeez. There's not many more that are worse than 1. I would say Shut Up and Dance is worse than 1. But that was like in the most recent season. So. Yeah. Oh, okay. How have you not watched Black Mirror? You're a media scholar, Ashley. I'm like, really?
Barely these days.
Really?
So.
1 with a good ending. They're all bad except for that 1.
So we need to do a podcast about it.
Let's do it. You have to scrap all the other ideas that Engage Family Gaming wrote down for us. You got to start with Black Mirror.
Okay. I'll do my homework.
Do your homework and get back to me. We'll make it work.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it then. I will upload this video to YouTube ASAP with the links in the description. Hopefully I can pull all the links that we had, because there were some really good links that you shared, Rachel, early on in the stream with some research.
Yes.
So I'm hoping I can pull those.
Awesome.
Figure out how to do that. And thank you all so much for watching. I super appreciate everyone coming in. I hope that you have a great time at PAX.
Thank you. If you are here, if you are around San Antonio, come find me. Doing lots of fun stuff at PAX this week.
Yeah. How many talks do you have? You have 3?
There are three. There are two on Friday. There's one on Saturday talking about Zelda. We're talking about video games, video game effects, and we're talking about avatar identification. So, and they're all featuring great people. Steven, I think, is on all three of those. We're going to have Dr. B,
Amazing.
who's the clinical director of Take This. We're going to have Tony Bean, who runs the Telios project. We're going to have so many fun, Brian Kelly. Lots of fun people.
So I heard a rumor that one of your talks is going to be Twitch streamed.
That is a good rumor because it's true. It's the Zelda. We're talking about the psychology of Zelda, which I think would be real interesting to you because it's about like game design and the different psychological elements. I do not know about the stream. I know it's going to be streamed because I got an email about it, and I emailed Tony Bean, who is chairing that session, and I said, "Can you tell me more?" Because I went to the official PAX South Twitch stream and it's not listed as a thing there. So I'll get back to you on that. Hopefully, I'll get some information.
Steve says Zelda will be on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, if you can get me that info, I will host the stream so we can all watch it.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, Zelda will be on Twitch. Do you know how, Steven? Maybe he knows. I emailed Tony because I saw in the. Did you see the acceptance letter? It said it will be on Twitch, but when you go to the PAX South Twitch channel, it's not listed. They're broadcasting something else. So. Maybe Steven knows.
It might be in their schedule, but anyway, we'll make sure to.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah. So I want to see your talk. I'm so excited. Hey.
Well, thanks for having me, Ashley. It was great.
And we'll have to do this again because it was super fun. So don't forget, if you liked the stream, I'm gonna be trying to do more of them and bring on other scholars and game developers to play other games and talk about other serious topics, because serious games is something that I teach and I'm interested in, and I make serious games from time to time. But I will be back to my regular stream, which is doing Thinkalouds of onboarding techniques of AAA games. Not necessarily all AAA, that's some indie. But I'm doing God of War on Friday, I believe.
Ooh,
so
fun.
I'm trying to hit up those PlayStation exclusive titles and see what the hype train's all about. So I'll be back to doing that by myself, which is going to be significantly less fun than having Rachel here.
Well, but, more juice. You just need more juice.
You know, yeah, we can't have Rachel all the time, right? So thank you all so much.
But I'll come back.
You should. And give me a follow if you're interested in more dorky stuff.
Follow her. She's awesome.
And also, I have... So my stretch goal for my subscriptions is to get enough money to pay for Taco Tuesdays. I stole this from Gabe, one of my coworkers. So I spend about $20 a month on Taco Tuesdays. So I'm hoping that I can achieve that stretch goal. So I keep it real. I keep this realistic with my subscriptions.
That's a good goal.
So if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free at no cost to you, and then I get taco money.
Sweet.
This is my ticket out of academia. Oh, it's so sad. Okay, so thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a good night, and see you later. So I'm going to...
I can't believe you never